reppin' that star, I do it so well. It's Puma on the toes, but the stars on the clothes. I'm Starboy, fresh at the DF Dub. Yeah, I'm a hard hitter. Don't stare to fit, it'll ego hit you. What is you saying, man? Look at the swag. Please do forgive the brag. I'ma pull up later in the Cowboy jag. Don't you slip on the drip, I'm flossing the sauce. Go so hard for the star. Yeah, that be win, lose, or draw. If you take a L, get the F off my block. Cowboys win. Watch yours, pull up the shots. Really can't help it, got a star status. Even got it tatted on my arm. Yes, we be 5-3 strong. Left a little room cause it's quest for the six. Starboy really reppin' this shit. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep reppin' loud until there's no more left in ya. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep reppin' loud until there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me.
Yeah, tell me who the number one fan. Yeah, Mr. Westside, I'm the man. Dallas Cowboys from my head to the toes. They better recognize who the fuck I am. Damn, haters run their mouth like a bitch when they team ain't shit and my team stay lit. Yeah, I'm about to rep this shit till the day I die in an all blue casket. If you wanna get with a club with love, tell Star Status Westside sent ya. Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. Emmett Smith is our main. Game time, prime time, all the time. Your team ain't never on TV like mine. That's because we different. We America's team and we run this. Like Zeke runs circles right defense. Jerry Jones, that's nonsense. Let the coaches coach. And I'll have a smoke. And I know y'all wanna toast to that.
Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep reppin' loud until there's no more left in ya. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep reppin' loud until there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L. Reppin' that star, I do it so well. DC, that B4L.
What's up with you guys? It is your boy West Coast, man, and we are live in the building, man. How are you guys doing on this mighty Tuesday, man? It is your favorite Cowboys, West Coast and Boss Cowboy, man. We are live in the building. You guys already know on Tuesday we do our special shows. So we got our nice clean shirts on, and everybody's all shirts and saved. We must have a guest coming today, man. What's up, guys? Cowboys? Must have a guest. But I'm gonna be honest with you, our guest, we got Miss Jane Slater that's gonna be sliding down here at some point. But I'm gonna tell you guys, no shot at women, but you guys, you ladies, man, you ladies have gotten multiple men late for functions. So as always, she had something coming up, but we will be having her on at the show at some point. And when we have her on, we're going to ask her and kind of go through some of the things that were already talked about today. But I'm going to tell you guys this, man, it doesn't surprise me that Miss Jane is a little late. I'm going to tell you why, boss. Because there was a lot of stuff that happened in the nation today. A lot of stuff, man. There was a lot of stuff. Like, I ain't gonna lie. When I heard them questions that they was after, like, put it like this: when I heard them questions that they was asking Jerry on that interview today,
she was banging today.
I was literally like, I don't know if she gonna be able to clean all that up by 8 o'clock.
Somebody better be writing a couple of articles on what she came out with today.
Yeah.
Like, and listen, when you dealing with Jane, and she's on the way, and when you dealing with Jane, you dealing with a real quality professional. Like, the question she asked today was questions that needed to be followed up from other people.
Yeah, that
asked questions that wasn't clear.
Absolutely.
And it was good stuff. And she was banging. Like, I was like, "Ooh, I can't wait till the day." And
if you guys are wondering the question that, I just want to talk about it a little bit while we're waiting for her. Hey, the question that she asked today was a very direct question, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. There's a lot of people out there's a lot of reporters out there that I rock with, but part of the reason why I rock with Jane is because she understands that when you only have a little bit of time, ask your questions direct, but make them powerful, man. And she asked a very direct and powerful question today to the Dallas Cowboys, and when Mike McCarthy was talking about the virtual trainings and everybody being available today as far as getting ready to, because, this is around the time where everybody would start reporting, right? So right. Jane asked him a question. Jane asked him I would have thought it would have been a pretty standard question. He asked, I would have thought it would have been a pretty standard, a pretty standard question that she would have asked him. But I mean, she basically asked him to reiterate kind of, make it clear, was Dak Prescott in virtual training or was he not? And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't know how good of a coach McCarthy is as far as the Cowboys, because I haven't seen him coach, but I'm gonna tell you this right now. That young man has a career on what's that show? What's that show that you do that where they have the celebrities and they dance? Emmitt Smith won it. I think it's like
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars. Mike McCarthy is for show.
Oh, whoa, he was.
Yeah, like he had to. Hey, shout out to my boy Dakota with the 530, man. 530 stars. I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna have to do the math later. But yo, man, like he had the two-step, and the reason why I said he had the two-step is because my girl Jane doubled down on it. She was like, okay, I thank you.
She did it so smooth.
That's so good. I want to know though. So. Was he there at camp? And once again,
so we won't be tweeting out any bad information.
And once again, my guy would not answer the question. Now, obviously, what do I think that means? What do I think that means is I think Dak was not in virtual training. You know what I'm saying? Before I get to that though, my boy Dakota says 1,730 stars, bro. I appreciate you, bro. I super duper appreciate you. But yeah. I think that whole talk about Dak Prescott is, Dak Prescott will show up. He will, that mentality that they used against Zeke, and it didn't work because we ended up paying him. He just missed a bunch of camp for no reason. Right. I think that whole process is basically kind of started, man, because Boss Cowboys like this, man. If something is true, if something's yes or no, it's kind of easy to say yes or no, right?
Man, like if Dak was there, because at first
everything in life,
because we debated this before the show. I was like, no, I thought I heard him say that he was there. West Coast was like, no, he didn't answer it directly, boss. So I was like, let me listen to it. So as we was prepping for the show, I was listening to the whole thing, and McCarthy did not just clearly say it. Was almost like a half truth, because it's like, to West Coast's point, if somebody asks you, was Dak Prescott at the virtual meeting, right?
Yeah, appreciate you, Miss Leah.
He participated. It made sense for him to be there, and he was there, and gladly he was there. You answer. You don't talk about, he's talked to coaches before and all of that kind of stuff. It's like half truths, and it's stuff you can't prove. And I understand you want to keep the drama down, right? You want to keep the drama down. You want to keep the business in house. But Jane was pressing, and she was pressing so professional though. She was like, I don't want to come across, like I'm, because you can't see me, but I'm just trying to be clear so we don't tweet this out, bad information. She was like, basically, be clear. Was he here or was he not?
And then the feed went down and they went to Mike Fisher. I mean, hey, shout out to Miss Leah and the Stars. I appreciate you. Some people, hey man, I appreciate that's rocking with the Stars. And everybody that's sending a nation out there, and I appreciate you guys, man. That's a really good point, man, because I think that was very important, because what it really goes to show is it goes to show the level of where they are with this contract with Dak Prescott. Like, I know nobody wants to talk about it. I know everybody wants to just say, this, there, or the third. But I mean, I think it goes to show, the level of where they are in the contract. And it's like, after 2 years, man, like, have you ever, let's just say this, right? Let's not even say quarterback. Let's just say any position in all of football. Have you ever seen someone take 2 years to get a contract? To get one contract?
No.
Like, you have literally been talking to this kid for 2 years now on a contract, and you haven't come up with a number in 2 years. Like, so, when I hear stuff like that, man, even though Mike McCarthy says that, and I'm not trying to say that there's smoke, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say there's fire. Yeah, yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say there's fire, but I am saying there's a little smoke there.
Yeah, it was smoky.
And one thing I like about McCarthy is Mike McCarthy keeps saying this statement right here, and that is this. Like, he said this about his defense. He said he wants to play better defense at this stop than he did at his last one. So Mike McCarthy sounds like a guy who has kind of learned from his mistakes. And I'm gonna tell you this: quarterback contract and quarterback injury is what hurt him a lot over there in Green Bay. And so I'm gonna tell you this right now. Mike McCarthy, I believe at all costs is going to protect himself from those things. How do you protect yourself from that? You would think he would protect himself from the quarterback contract controversy by what? Pushing to get it signed. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really hoping that Mike McCarthy is in there pushing to get it signed because, like, man, you got to see it like this. Even though Dak Prescott is a virtual training, he may be on there for 2 hours, but he's a regular dude for the other 22 hours of the day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what influence do I want the leader of my team giving out right now? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like sometimes I got to pull my oldest child out the way and I'd be like, yo, come here. You see what you just did right now? Yeah, I can't you can't do that. I can't have you do that in front of the other kids. Why? Because they're going to respond totally different than the way you do it. You know what I'm saying? Like an example, my older kids can watch TV. They can have the TV on and still do their homework and it still come out good. My babies, they can't do that. They can't do that at all. So I had to tell them, like, look, if y'all want to play the Xbox, because we only do the one TV in the house rule. You want to play the Xbox? Then guess what? You're going to have to either wait till they finish doing their homework or you want to figure out another place for them to go. And so that's where you got to start looking at as the leader of your team, because there is a difference between, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, no matter if you believe, and that's not true, but if some of y'all believe that, hey, you know, that Zeke carried this team, but I'm going to tell you that carried or whatever, Dak Prescott is the clear leader of this team. Like that's not been wavered. He's the clear leader of this team. And you don't want to start messing with that. You want to start with your quarterback. At some point, you want to start encouraging your quarterback. At some point, you want to start building him up. When do we start telling our quarterback, start looking him in the face and telling him we believe in you to go get this Super Bowl? Like, when do we have that conversation? You feel me? Because at some point, he's still going to have to go out there and quarterback for you, right? At some point, right?
And one thing, as we waiting on Jane to come in, you know, because obviously we follow Jane and we lobby for Jane.
Appreciate you, Michael.
Because some people listen to her only on the NFL Network. There's a lot to what she
with 2,000 stars. I appreciate you, man. Oh,
it's a lot to what she puts out that's other than just the NFL Network. That's just as meaty and just as important. Yep. So, like, one of the things that what you really got to watch with Jane is her tweets. Because even today, because when she comes on, we go talk about this. One of the things that came out also today was she asked for clarification on a 4-3 versus a 3-4 defense.
Appreciate you, Dakota.
But then she tweeted out something from doing her own research, and I loved it. And I can't wait till we talk about this. She said, I would say a lot of 3-4 principles based on people I've spoken with, though. Here's why. And she was talking about more so that she's not basically buying the 4-3 that they said that they was likely going to be in this defense. Because she said from her research, you don't sign Alden Smith to play 4-3. You don't look at Jason at 17 to play 4-3. And LVE could shift to middle linebacker with Jalen rushing more. So basically, Jalen becomes an outside linebacker that's like an edge rusher, which we've lobbied before because he was great at that at Notre Dame. And she said, make of that what you will. So it's that type of stuff that when you following her, following just the NFL Network would never be good enough, because the meat of what she puts out is her tweets.
Appreciate you, Miss Tony. Appreciate you, Rodney. Natrine.
And she'll hit you quick, but when she hit, it's like major nuggets. Like her biggest nuggets come from her tweets. Like one of the tweets that West Coast and I always reference is where she was basically putting the truth out on Dez. Because in 2017, everybody was saying what? Dez was a what? Distraction. But she put out,
they said he was a destroyer of. Hey, what did they say? He was a destroyer of soul. What did they call him? The destroyer of souls, or whatever they call him on Lord of the Rings. He is the destroyer of souls.
Yeah,
like, man, y'all play my boy like he was literally out here just slapping kids
which
and
was
just
against the way,
just spitting on old ladies and stuff.
Right.
Y'all play my boy, man.
It was against the whole wave of controversy where everybody was saying in unison, Dez is a cancer, and they was more so saying it because of the Seattle game where he had, that tantrum.
Appreciate you,
right?
Stash.
But she was like, no, there's zero infighting in this locker room.
Yep.
Zero.
Richard.
Right? So in other words, for the people that was lobbying to get Dez out saying that he was a cancer and all this kind of stuff, she was like, the locker room does not have that opinion.
Jeezy, I see you, man.
And she came, I mean, I can go on and on. I'm gonna go and let you say something, but I could go on the quality of reporting that she does for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. She's a superhero. I'm gonna tell you another superhero I know, and that is my sponsor, man, my supporter, Miss Leah. She is a nurse out there in the front lines. Shout out to her. Also, I want to give a shout out to my boy Barry Gibson, because his wife right now is currently in New York, bro. She flew to the zone. She flew there. You know what I'm saying? She's out there helping too. So we got some goddamn some essentials, some real essentials in the building, man. So I appreciate it. I want to give y'all the shout out y'all deserve. Cameron, what's up with you, man? Buddha Badass. I see you in the hey, that's not a cuss word, that's his name. I see you, Miss Tony. I see you, Leah. I see you again. Gary, I see you. Jeezy, baby. I see you. Jamaz, what's up with you? I got your name right. No, I didn't. I'm banging Cowboys in here. What's up with you, Bob Heck? What's up with you, man? Richard. Hey, Richard, did you get your book I sent you? I sent you a book in the mail. Let me know if you got that. And I know that's get stashed under my profile, saying, because I can't send stars to myself. So I know that's you, stash man, under my profile. What's up with you, man? And Ken Mertry, what up with you, OG? Chris Goulin, what up with you? Hey, is that the goddamn, yeah? What up with you, man? Miss Wendy, how are you doing this evening? Miss Wendy, always keep it popping. Kermit, Joe Trachina, what's up with you over there in Italy? And Bob Heck, man. All the regulars is in the house, man.
Yeah,
hey,
man, I see a whole lot of RDS family in the building. My boy Nick Reed, man. What's up, Reggie Pete? I see you. Daisy Clark, hey, how you doing? I also see Felix and my boy Phil in the house. My boy Kevin and Starboy. What's up, boy?
Hey, Starboy on your page?
He on my page today.
Ooh.
Usually on both. My boy Victor says, "Sup, boss? I see you, brother. I see you
Let me
too,
find
Victor,
out,
man. Much
Starboy.
love." So yeah, that's a RDST brotherhood, man. I love you boys, man. We've been rocking for a long time.
Hey, I'll tell you this though, with the 17th pick in the 2020 social media draft, I'm gonna draft. I got Miss Wendy, and then you got Starboy for the day. There we go. Because man, they be in the Miss Wendy. I seen her. Miss Wendy is one of the people I've seen. I seen her on Facebook, Instagram. I'd be like, how you get us up on platforms? I ain't even know that we was available in all them places, man. So I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Also, man, we got some other draft picks in there. Some people I would take in the first. I got my boy Dakota, man. He's definitely a first round pick. I appreciate you, man. I ain't gonna lie, you know. He got my boy Dakota got the dreads, so I don't know. He may go fluctuate up and down. But while we on the subject of trading up and down and some other craziness, Jerry Jones finally, I think somebody done pissed Jerry Jones off, man. I'm gonna tell you that. Oh, my boy Starboy said he just switched to West Coast Cowboy. Hey, my bad, boss. I mean,
oh man,
appreciate
hold on, Starboy. You let that boy put that pressure on you to get off the page of the pages, my man. Hold on, brother. You can't do that.
I put that D-Law pressure on, and that boy had to switch it up real quick.
You did.
He had to switch it up real quick.
Off.
He said, "You know what,
nah, bro.
West Coast, you got
like where you from? Starboy from Dallas too. You can't do that, man.
What, man? I'm 3 songs deep with Starboy right now.
True.
Three songs.
I would have got off too. You done put 3 songs.
3 seasons deep with Starboy. Like
yeah,
I'm like
off Starboy. Yeah, I would have jumped off. It's big.
Like on everything. Like
contractually,
contractually, I'm gonna be in the next song. Like we've already discussed that. Me and Boss will be in the next song. We're already practicing our rapping.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Producer G even tell you.
My boy Mike Nepp. Hey, Mike Nepp is the one who upgraded the logo. If y'all need any logo work, man, you better talk to my boy Mike Nepp. And I'm gonna be posting more of his stuff on my page as well as I'm gonna be posting his work on Boss Cowboy fan page as well. So yeah, Michael Nepper. I mean, he'll actually draw it. Like he's an artist. Like he's not gonna do all digital stuff.
Hey, I got my boy David Jenkins. What up, David, man? I see you, man, over there on YouTube. Hey, what is this from? I'm
Team Trade Down too, mostly.
And my boy David Jenkins be hitting me with like some of the old school music, but I want to know if you. Hey, David, put it in the comments if you a real hip hop head. You know what that beat is. That's all I'm gonna say to you. Don't play me. I got you. All right, Buddha Badass, what up with your man? Scash Man, I see you, the official stash of the Dallas Cowboys. I see you, the stash that forever grows. I appreciate you. I got P Nasty in the house. What up with you, Miss Tony? I see you again. Hey, Jerry Jones had some crazy. Jerry, hey, I was saying this, boss. somebody didn't piss Jerry Jones off, man. Because look, man, they asked him a real direct question about Jamal Adams, and he gave them a real direct answer. Now, he must be still cool with Dak because they was dancing around with Dak. But when it came to that Jamal Adams guy, you know, he was pretty serious, man. So shoot, I got this little video I want to show y'all real quick. I got my boy producer G on the mic. You know what I'm saying? So producer G gonna hit that button and make the video slide real quick. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna listen to.
Draft pick values are heightened because all of the teams in the NFL want to pick and want to use that pick to pick a player for now and in the future, and one that's salary cap friendly. So the idea of trading a very valuable, your number one, for a existing player that more than likely is going to cost you a lot more. Draft pick values are heightened because all of the teams in the NFL want to pick and want to use that pick to pick a player for now and in the future, and one that's salary cap friendly. So the idea of trading a very valuable, your number one, for a existing player that more than likely is going to cost you a lot more is unlikely. And I would say just theoretically it is, but I'd say specifically it is. Highly unlikely that we wouldn't have the pick there to use for either a top player in the draft or to trade for potential other draft picks where you can equate the value more evenly pick for picks, then you're likely to have something happen like that, but probably unlikely to make a draft pick trade for an established star. Here, draft pick values are heightened because all of the teams in the NFL want to pick and want to use that pick to pick a player for now and in the future, and one that's salary cap friendly. So the idea of trading a very valuable, your number one, for a existing player that more than likely is going to cost you a lot more is unlikely. And I would say just theoretically it is, but I'd say specifically it is. Highly unlikely.
Dang, homie. Did he just, I want to know, man. Look at your yogurt right now. Look at your yogurt right now.
It is some ugly stuff. And
did he just piss in your yogurt, man?
Before you talk about this yogurt,
did he just piss in my yogurt, man?
About this yogurt, West Coast.
God dang.
Check this. My girl, listen, I love you, Wendy. My girl, Wendy, say, are you going to take off your glasses for Jane? The answer is no. And the reason being is because Jalen Smith is a sponsor of the show. So we still have to maintain the sponsorship integrity by rocking.
So let's absolutely. So you know what? So what you? I know some of I can see some of y'all in the comment box pissed in a mug. Some of y'all mad in the mug right now.
And what Jerry just said.
Hey, they mad in the mug. Hey man, what is the stars then stopped all of a sudden? I didn't say it. What y'all mad at me for? Boston
I'm taking out these glasses for a second.
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just as pissed as you. Hey, boss, I'm over here just as pissed as I'm mad.
You should be.
Jerry Jones. This is my thing, bruh. Jerry Jones is the definition. If there was a definition of a party pooper, it would be literally a picture of Jerry Jones. Like he is literally going to walk in the middle of the party, pull his pants down, and poop in the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's two ways you can look at it, right? There's two ways you can look at it. You can look at it as face value, because a spade is a spade. You know what I'm saying? You can look at it as space. You know what I'm talking about? You can. But at the same time, scouts, what does scout stand for? Serious Cowboy fan.
Cowboy
out
fan
to uncover truth.
Out to uncover truth.
So I want to know, boss, I'm asking you this question. Has Jerry Jones ever lied to you?
Oh, man. Come on.
I mean, I know we want to.
That's why we call it Jerry.
We ain't gonna say don't answer that question because we in hopes to work with him. We ain't gonna put him out there like that. But has Jerry Jones ever been caught in a fibber? Yes, he has. So
and then let's put it like this, West Coast.
Let me hear something.
Nice
for the depressed fan who's hurting right now.
Does he have to lie? Yes.
If you're a depressed fan right now and you feel like your Jamal dreams have been crushed, Boss Cowboy, bring them back to life.
Yeah, I mean, because look, we are a couple of days before the draft. So what kind of smart businessman is gonna show his whole hand while he in trade talks?
Somebody who's bad at spades.
Sometimes, yes, it's face value truth, because we've done that. We were serious when we said Tristan Hill was a priority. We actually did that. we were serious when we said LVE was likely going to be the pick. We actually did that. But then sometimes you want to kind of hide your hand. So even if you're in talks with,
or don't bend over so far.
Yeah, don't bend over so far.
You know, some people you be hiding your hand, but they still be like over here, and you just be like, I'm a Christian, but I can see you got that ace. I play a lot of spades in my house. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm a Christian, but I see he got the ace.
Well, yeah, real quick.
Well, go ahead. But go ahead, finish what you're
saying. She'll come when she comes. But hey, man, but crazy. It's crazy, man. Like, it's, you know, I don't mean to laugh, West Coast. And, you know, it's rude to say I told you, but I told you. You know what I mean? I've been saying that don't take the Jamal trades serious. And I said, why don't take it serious? Because Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones have a winning formula of building through the draft, and they believe in it. Like, he was not lying when he said it took an act of Congress to get them to trade for Cooper.
Yeah.
He was not lying. He was serious about that. And he said that after the receiver by committee was an obvious failure.
Yeah.
So even with an obvious failure, it took an act of Congress for them to make a big move.
Jerry then went and think about this.
Sitting here getting ready to trade away how we've been building for 6 years. No, unless the Jets was going to give them away for just pick 17, we would have taken that deal. But he's going to cost more than that. And when you start going over one pick with Dallas, they like, no. It's just how we rock. So,
and I'm gonna tell you something else, boss. I think it also has to do with you know, what's out there also available. Like, you know, you also had the kid Malik Hooker from the Colts that just became available too. Now, is Malik Hooker in the same shopping mall as Jamal Adams? Absolutely not. But is Malik Hooker, if he's on our team, a better safety than what we have right now? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, you know, that's why as fans, like, sometimes we get so hooked on, like, my car just broke down, I'm going to the Bentley dealer. Okay, you didn't get approved at the Bentley dealer. You sure you don't want to go try Honda? No, I'm not. I'll just catch the bus. That don't make no sense. Like, you would rather catch the bus than just go to a lesser value brand. It's either the Bentley or nothing. That's what it was in 2019 and 18. Ooh. It was the Bentley or nothing. And here we are riding on the bus, looking at all these affordable cars that we can get, but we only want the Bentley. And guess what? Not only do we only want the Bentley, but we're only going to go to the Bentley dealership. We're not even going to go look at any other cars. We'll just sit here on the bus. And I'm not saying that Xavier Woods is the bus. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that there was that one game where he had them 7 missed tackles.
It was so nice, bro.
I'm just saying, man, because you know we be around these dudes, we be eating lunch. I don't want nobody punch me,
brother.
I just don't want to get punched in the face, bro, because I be around a lot of.
You run into those guys.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to get punched in the face.
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you this: after that Michael Jordan, the first dance or the final last, I heard it go down with the media. So like, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna say somebody ain't good too many times and then they not punch you in the face. You know what I'm saying? If you tell me I suck too many times, if I see you, I might punch you in the face. So
yeah, and man, but see, your point was so eloquent, bro. It was,
bro, there's so many guys.
It's so true what you said. Like, I think so many people take it for granted what you just said, and that's the trick of what you just said. Is we get so pigeonholed, and I'm talking about us as fans, to only Bentleys. We want Earl Thomas or we want Adams, and we don't want anything else.
And nothing else.
But what's happening behind the scenes is there's like 5 or 6 guys that they wouldn't be Jamal Adams, but there'll be upgrades to what we have.
Ridiculously upgrades.
Yeah, ridiculously
Anthony
upgrades.
Harris is
I'm gonna be nice like you.
Upgrade.
I'm gonna be super nice. I'm gonna put a disclaimer.
Chicago Bears game.
They would come in and compete. Yeah, right. No, they would come in better than what we have right now, day one. Like day Anthony one. Harris, right? Why are we not talking about Anthony Harris? Why, it's just so many other safeties that's still available in free agency that are upgrades. Like we only talk about Jamal Adams. We don't talk about Trey Boston.
Oh my God, Trey Boston was available last year, bro. He was available last year. Think about this, Carl Joseph.
Last year, just
Think about Carl Joseph.
McCoy.
Boss, let me tell you something. I gotta admit this, right? And I had a super duper slap yourself moment, and I'm hoping nobody go back and watch this video. Do not go back to and watch a video when I said that the Dallas Cowboys should trade Lael Collins for Carl Joseph. Do not go watch that video on YouTube because I was stupid, I was dumb, I was in a horrible place. Why? Because he just got signed for $2 million.
$2.5 million.
$2 million. Think about this,
Carl
boss.
Joseph.
That's how I valued him at some point. Last year, I valued him.
Yeah. 2.5.
So it's like, you're going to tell me that guy, you don't want to go get $2.5 million for a guy that you brought in on a 30-30 visit? Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Carl Joseph is really like the biggest, like, when it comes to safety position, that's why I tell you guys, the Cowboys do not give a damn about the safety position. They don't. They do not care about it. They do not care about it. They don't care about it. Because, man, you bring in Carl Joseph for your 30-30 visits. That means these are guys that you were projecting to go in top 50. Top 50. If you're bringing in a guy for a 30-30 visit, he's a top 50 pick. You're either going to take him in the first round or you're going to take him in the second round. Well, guess what? When I have a rule, if you have that much faith in a guy, when he comes available in the free agency, you should at least look. You should at least look.
You should kick those tires.
You should kick those tires. $2.5 million.
2.5?
Jason Witten was $2 million.
Like, listen, and like I had a guy tell me today, oh, you just like Carr because he was one of your favorite draft choices when he was coming out. Oh, I'm so sorry your draft crush is gone.
Who's that?
I ain't gonna say who, but at the same time, I'm gonna address that false thought. And this is the thing, like, I never was in love with Carr like that, ever. But I love the fact that Carr would have brought in a dog mentality.
Quick.
He's the sure tackler, and he would have just got the whole defense on their feet from just blowing balls head off.
And he gets
for $2.5 million, you put him on his team and you let him compete. Like, I love one of my favorites, LaDonna Decker. She said, I actually think X Woods has the potential for a breakout year under this coaching staff. That could be true. The only problem is we said that last year. You know, I can show you an article. I can show you an article when they literally said Xavier Woods should have a breakout season. Breakout year. And we said it again this year. And it's like, and I'm not saying he won't, but at the same time, damn, I want competition.
Exactly.
You know, so for $2.5 million, and no, he does not play the same position as Ha-Ha. Ha-Ha said he's coming in to play free.
Which he
still
shouldn't be.
Need a solid strong. So
yeah,
for $2.5 million, yes.
And then my thing is this, boss, for that amount of money, he ain't got to make the team.
Because we always fall for the Bentley, which is West Coast point. It's an epic point. We always get drunk off, Carl Joseph. I mean, not Carl Joseph, I'm sorry. Jamal
Earl
Adams.
Thomas.
We drink
Jamal Adams.
Yeah,
who are all great players. Who are all great players. And think about this. We're the only team that's trying to go to great players and try to make them take less money. Like, how do you even think you're going to win that race? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. I know you're a nice guy, but he's a nice guy. He has a nice car. And he has all the nice things. Like, you got to be able to step your game and step with those amenities too. Like, it's amazing. Like, if the Cowboys were like, okay, if we do go get an Earl Thomas, he's going to have to take less money to come here. Like, no, man. Treat these free agents like every other free agent and chase them. I'm sorry. That's like, they're just certain. This is the thing, right? Certain players get different respect than other players get. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. Like, do you honestly think that when Michael Jordan walked in the building, you know, the attendants got all hyper and they got all excited? Do you think when BJ Armstrong walked in this and they got just as excited? No. Why? Because they don't. It's a difference. When you earn that, you get that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it is at your job. You know what I'm saying? You 1 or 2 minutes late, your boss look at you like, hey, you know what I'm talking about? Don't trip. I got 2 sales on the board already. You know what I'm saying? Now, Janice come in late. That's just natural. And that's how it is in football, and that's how it is in life. You know what I'm saying? Jamal Adams is worth everything he's asking for.
Yeah, he's worth it.
So for you to even ask him to take less money is like, it makes me, if I'm Jamal Adams, it makes me think you're not serious. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, the Cowboys have said that, you know, via text through Mike Fisher, that there is a possibility that the Cowboys may, you know, I mean, this was what they were saying. And that's another thing. That's
last week.
This was just last week. This is just,
right.
And that's how I know that's like, because another way to look at this Jamal Adams and what Jerry Jones said, you can also look at it as like extreme posturing. You want to know why? Because Jerry Jones knows that not only when he says this statement is he saying this to the nation, I think he also is speaking to the New York Jets and telling them that, because guess what? He's been in conversation with the Jets. So that also lets the Jets know that, guess what? Whatever we was talking about ain't going to work, because they just said, no, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, they basically said we haven't really put that on like a priority type deal.
And there's no way the Cowboys.
And they were saying specifically about Jamal, not safety.
Yeah, and I don't believe that Jerry Jones has not contemplated giving them the 17th pick. With everybody trading their picks, there's no way he has not contemplating that. It's only 950 points.
Let's just be all the way frank and honest with the fans, man. At some point, we got to know what our strategy is, and sometimes you have to accept it because it's a good strategy that's been working. Yeah. Building through the draft does not work if you don't have the discipline to build through the draft.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, like, I used to, a lot of us, we give Steven a bad rap because we talk about how cheap he is and stuff like that, which is some truth to it. But like West Coast said it best one day, he's the guy you want to go shopping with for real. He'll fill your whole house and have you looking nice, right? Now, it might take you a while, right? But that's how he is when he shop. But over time, you see the value in building through the draft.
Yeah.
How do you think we had so much cap space to pay Tank, to pay Zeke, to pay Cooper, to pay all these guys, to pay Zach Martin, to pay Fredericks when he was paid? Like, how many teams have that many people coming back to back to back to back to back and literally have the budget to pay them?
Exactly.
Like, look at how many teams that are shaking up right now, like San Fran. Look how they trying to give away the farm because they've been not building through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's fact.
At some point, yes, it hurts to see people like Jamal get away, but it feels even better to see us pay our own, right? I like the fact that we say we're going to pay Zeke first before we play Jamal. We're going to pay Dak first because to me, that's where Dallas gets it right. Like, I always had little gripes on where Dallas gets it wrong, but let's talk about where they get it right too, man. And where they get it right is, we're going to take all of our players through hell to get paid. Go get paid.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing about it is what you're asking yourself, and shout out to Miss Tony. I see you in there making it rain stars. I appreciate you. Man, what you're really also doing is you're playing Russian roulette, man, because you don't know if Dak Prescott is as mentally strong as an Ezekiel Elliott. You don't know that, man. You don't know if all this is going to affect. You know what I'm saying? And I know we would hope that none of this would affect, but you don't know. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is this: if you already know you're going to do it, if you already know in the back of your mind you're going to do it, why piss somebody off? Like, why? I mean, the Bible says this. It's like, it's in Proverbs. It says, like, why put off why put off tomorrow what you can do today? You know what I'm saying? And what they were talking about, it was actually, oh my God, he was actually talking about paying someone. You know what I'm saying? How if you have the money to pay someone today, why would you send them away and tell them to come back tomorrow? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think about that with my gardener. Like, I see my gardener coming up, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I see my gardener be like, oh, just get me next week. Just get me next week. I'll be like, all right, it's under, you know what I'm saying? I put it under whatever. But times like this, when my grass is high, and I'm thinking like, dang, he can't even get out here and cut. I wonder how all those people that he didn't pay. I'm pretty sure he's wishing that he would have been more on the schedule and got his bread. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because life happens. And that's why I say Dak Prescott, man, the corona showed you, or forgive me for saying it out loud. I didn't mean to say it loud, but the Coronasaurus rest showed y'all that anything can happen. And y'all wondering why these kids don't want their money now, because anything can happen. Anything can happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Absolutely anything can happen.
My page said something. I'm sorry, you were saying something. Go ahead.
Nah, I'm good. Go ahead.
Yeah, he said something that I love. He said, you take care of home first, but communication is key. That's where we've been knocking the Cowboys on this show, is we don't like how they haggle with their players. But just, you right too, Daniel, but just looking at the overall bigger picture of how deals are done, the message is still pretty much we pay our own at the end of the day. You know, now I agree with you. I don't like how we do it, but at the end of the day, I'd rather be us than the Texans. Because if you at the Texans, you go grind, you go put blood on the field, and they still not gonna pay you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this, like, look at Hopkins, look at their tackle that they had, Brown, and look at Clowney, like all of these, Bouye. Like, would you rather be Dallas, or would you rather be where you drafted these guys and got value for these guys and then let them go? No, so I'd rather be Dallas.
Yeah.
So yeah, but good point, Daniel.
Yeah, I got some. My boy, I'm in this comments box right now. We in this comments. We're gonna probably be in the comments for the rest of the night, man. So if you got some comments, throw them in there. I'm gonna shout them out and get you guys some content, get you guys some airtime. I appreciate you guys for rocking with us. My supporter, Wendy, I appreciate you. Bob, help. Hey man, I'm looking at my text right now. It looks like we're probably gonna be doing a reschedule with Jane. But one thing I love about when people of importance reschedule or they're not able to come through, they always come through on a big scale. You know what I'm saying? I remember I had a buddy, I had a guy.
That, man.
I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it real. Every time that someone, because Jane is on, you got to think like this, bro. It's 2 days.
Look, Jane,
it's 2 days before the draft. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. This draft week, she just had a big day today talking to Jerry now.
Yeah, so I mean,
and she the one that basically said Tuesday anyway. Yeah. So it's all good.
Exactly.
It's all good. Thank you, Jane.
Appreciate you. And like I said, when I'm talking to her via text message. So, this is definitely going to be something we're going to be using in the future. So Jane, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So Jane is not going to be a guest. She's going to be somebody that, come to the house and get their own drink out the refrigerator because she's been here so many times. That's the point of Jane Slater. You know what I'm saying? To have her here.
That's
so
the point.
That's the whole point. So we didn't get her today.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, we had a lot of stuff already planned to talk.
We had a whole show planned. What you mean?
What'd you say?
We had a whole show. G's like, I had a whole show planned. Yeah, hey, hey, but I'm gonna tell you who I would like to give a bigger.
We was gonna go so in, but with quality and respect.
Boss, who I want to give out a shout out right now. Because this person's not gonna get any love, nor is he gonna get any like glitz or glamour out there in the airs. I'm gonna give a shout out to Producer G, man, because my boy Producer G, even though Jane rescheduled on us, my boy Producer G put in at least since Thursday about 4 to 5 days worth of graphics and animation for a show. So I want to give my boy a special shout out.
Special shout out, man. Y'all definitely, man, send that man some cash out money.
Because we wanted to make sure that when she came on here that she felt like she was still on TV. And my boy
back on my CEV.
Yeah, my boy Producer G definitely did that. Hey, let's jump back into these comment box real quick, though. Okay, so my boy Bob says, let's get OJ Howard for a 4th or 5th rounder. What are your thoughts now, man? Because I heard that, y'all heard that Gronkowski came out of retirement, right? Now, y'all, this isn't the first time you guys heard that, because the other day, me and Boss Cowboy did a show called OJ the Juice Man. And on that show, we did a regular Cowboy show, but in that show, we had a segment called OJ the Juice Man. The reason why I did that is because my boy Boss Cowboy brought this proposition it was real early in the morning. I'm real cranky in the morning. And at first sight, I turned it down like my insurance.
Yeah, you shooting at me.
When your first insurance, when you submit a claim, they'd be like, hell no. And then you send it back and you be like, well, tell them they hit me though. They'd be like,
right.
All right, but on first line, I was like,
about primary business, so he's telling the truth.
I'm telling the truth though, right?
The truth.
I'm literally. So I was like,
the claim people will try to get over the first time you call. That's nice after the third time. If you say attorney one time, I'm gonna give y'all some free game. Say attorney one time and they act right immediately.
So literally, like, boss. So we had a kind of I forget what we call them, but we had a little conversation about that. So then I did my research and I came back I actually called him back a couple hours and I was like, yeah, man, I could definitely see something on it. But the reason why I brought it up is because during that conversation I mentioned, and we brought this up about it was a slick comment. It wasn't, I ain't gonna say I was on air talking about the winning lottery numbers are 4, 9. No, it was a slick comment that came out of my mouth, but I did let y'all know that I said, man, I ain't gonna lie. I think Gronkowski would come out of, would be able to go over there and help them boys. You know what I'm saying? And it's because, not because of anything that I know anything about the New England Patriots, but just because it just makes sense. And at a 42-year-old man and Tom Brady looking into that division, he's telling himself, I'm gonna need help. And if you can go get some help, why wouldn't you call up your friend Gronkowski? Like if I was getting in a fight with somebody, who would you not call? Like I would call one of my homies, right? I got a list of people I'm gonna call for business, and then I got a list of people I call for business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think Tom Brady did. Tom Brady was like, man, Tom Brady looked in that, because you got to think like this, right? and y'all gonna trip when I say this, but Tom Brady the third best quarterback in his division right now. Keep it 100 though. He's the third best quarterback in his division right now. Because who the best? Who? Drew Brees. Who number 2? Matt Ryan. Number 3? Tom Brady. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I think Tom Brady took one of them situations where he took a team that he just basically gonna let him do whatever he want to do. But if I was Tom Brady, I wouldn't have went to that division. Why you want to go there? You know what I'm saying?
Man, you were talking about OJ the Juice because you gonna start a whole nother debate with me.
No, I'm just saying, why would you want to go there? But I'm just saying,
you trying to bait me into that debate, bro.
I'm just saying. I
ain't gonna take that bait because we was talking about the Juice Man for Dallas, and we end up talking about a whole other division.
What you I just want to throw them stats out there.
Yeah, I ain't taking that bait now, bro.
Hey man, what are your thoughts on?
But yeah, the OJ the Juice Man, I love it, bro. And you know and I made this case the other day for OJ the Juice Man. OJ the Juice Man to me didn't fit Winston. If certain quarterbacks don't fit certain.
I'm pretty sure they didn't even like each other.
And that's
I have
a
a feeling they didn't like each other.
Jefferson, all you got to do is look at Philly, bro. Like Philly is the example of how a quarterback can make all the difference in the weapon in terms of who their favorites are. Because anybody that knows Philly and really watches the division and actually tracks stats as well as use quality eye tests, you would notice for a fact that Carson Wentz loves to target running backs and tight ends. He's the most dunking guy in the league.
No, Tom Brady is.
I agree with that. That's actually more.
That's why he went that's why Tom Brady got a tight end before. That's why tight end.
Honest.
That's why he brought a tight end before a wide receiver.
You're right on that.
That's why he brought a tight end before he got a receiver.
But Wentz is second, bro, hands down, right? But look how big of a difference it made when Foles became the quarterback. Why? Because Foles like to throw the who? The receiver.
Wide receivers. That's why Alshon Jeffrey
Jeffrey's game just went up exponentially with just changing the quarterback.
Yeah.
And you'll see the targets to Ertz went exponentially down because of the quarterback. So you'll have a guy like OJ the Juice Man. OJ Howard is who we're referring to, who you'll say a bust. And it's like, no, he's actually opportunity. He's what we call on this show marshals, or we'll say a former great that's in the wrong place. And Dallas wins with those guys. Because who else looked like they was like that? Cobb, Quinn, Cooper.
Shoot, half the defense. What you talking about? Pick one. Amari Cooper.
Yeah. I mean, we bring boys back that seem like they lost all the tread on their tires, and all of a sudden they almost get fully restocked. Like they just came from Rent-A-Tire or something, like new tires, right? So that's what I envision for OJ the Juice Man. And I would target them West Coast, and I would say we'll give you a 6.
I would too.
Because let me ask you a question.
You know what I would tell them?
Do you think Miami would have took a 6 for Quinn now?
I know that's what I was just about to say. But you know the only thing that I don't like about them Quinn situations is them Quinn situations will backfire you with Jamal Adams, because they'll the Quinn situations how you feeling all strutty. You know what I'm saying? Well, I got 11 and a half sacks for 6 round pick. You think I'm gonna give you a 2 second? Like, I know the Cowboys ain't giving they won't trade Jerry Jones for 2 second round pick. I mean for 2 first round picks. That's just like that's not gonna happen with Dallas. That ain't happening. Appreciate you, Miss Tony. My boy Franzo says if I was gonna fight, I would call my bro, 2 of my cousins, and all of my nephews. You already know, and that's exactly what I think Tom Brady. That's exactly what I think Tom Brady is doing. I think Tom Brady understands that he's about to be in a fight, man. He's in a fight with a team, and I'm gonna tell y'all this, man. As much as y'all might want to think about Matt Ryan, because statistically, Matt Ryan has been a better quarterback than Tom Brady over the last 3 years. That's just, I mean, if you don't want to take 2017, he was hurt that 7, but the last 2 years, he's been a better quarterback. And no, he did not have a defense that gave him 27 interceptions. But this is what I will say. If the Cowboys can get him the Juice Man I hope they do drink up all that Gronkowski hype and let him go for a 6th round pick, you're winning. Like, I think you should trade any first round pick is worth a 6th round pick to trade him, because like, bruh,
Pretty much, man.
it don't even matter what position it is.
Yeah, I can't
Like,
fight
it don't
on
matter
that.
what position it is.
When it comes to Dallas, we should take that bet.
Yeah, like any team.
Other teams, no. But when you come into Dallas, I agree with you, West Coast. Pretty much almost any former first round pick is worth a 6th round gamble for us.
Mm-hmm.
Because history just showing that for whatever reason, when they come to Dallas, they get a Dallas performance bump. I think it happens with only the premier teams. I think that's why when Minka Fitzpatrick went from Miami to Pittsburgh, the guy that had the top 5 grade all of a sudden showed up. Because I think it's certain brands that just bring that childhood love of football back to these guys.
And
like
just
what they
also
said that
being
about Cooper. Remember when he came from the Raiders, Chris Carter said, I talk to Cooper all the time.
Yeah.
He said Cooper is in love again with football since he's come to Dallas.
Hey, and also I'm gonna tell you something
about
a competitive
those marquee
culture.
teams like Pitt, like Dallas, like Green Bay. Like it's certain teams to where you was growing up dreaming of wearing those uniforms and making a difference in those stadiums, and it brings that form of greatness out. I think that's a wonderful observation. And because the ultimate test, in my opinion, West Coast is going to be this. Alden Smith. Alden Smith is, if Alden Smith work, that is the biggest gamble that you will ever almost see in the last 10 years. If you look at his track record.
I don't know about gamble. I don't know about
4 years not playing football with his long track record.
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is, it's like you're not asking him to like he's gonna be a situational pass rusher. So it's like
yeah, but I'm just saying, if he had one of those Quinn type of seasons,
I think I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The biggest chance of anything is freaking Jalen Smith, bro. When you drafted him, he could not physically walk.
Yeah,
like.
Yeah, okay. So we kind of argue semantics. Let's say it like this. It'd be huge. Like, it'd be huge. If that Marshall's work, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm going to do like Moses. I'm going to write the law.
I would still give it over. I'm going to tell you who I would give. I would still give it over Randy Gregory, man. I still give Randy Gregory over, because Randy Gregory is someone who you actually brought in. Like, at the end of the day, he's on a 1-year deal for $4 million. So it's like, say in 3 months you look at Alden Smith and he's not in shape like you thought he could, you could easily cut him right then, and he doesn't get almost none of that money. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of that money. So it's like a 1-year deal. It could be a 1-year deal for $50 million. Those deals are so cuttable. You know what I'm saying? Because I would think that most of it is incentive based. Like, I think your point is proven. I don't know why I'm even disagreeing. I agree with you. I just think Randy Gregory is fine.
Because I like when you sharpen and like that, because what we're doing is we're trying to make sure that the point has clarity and substance. So,
but I think Randy Gregory's the guy they invest. Like, they got years in.
Right? Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, these Marshalls guys, like
they're
Randy
paying off,
like Alden Smith, these guys that was almost. Like, look at Malcolm Smith. Malcolm Smith came in at the end of the league off the street and was banging.
Yeah, everybody got mad when I said go get Terrell
my boy Jose Ballhead Nut from Florida was going on.
Ballhead Nut. Appreciate you, Tyrone.
It was beautiful.
Appreciate you, Tyrone, on YouTube. I see you.
It's a lot harder to deal with than most think, especially kids used to winning.
Who?
He was talking about Marshall's picks. So former greats. Okay. Yeah, former greats. We call those Marshalls, okay? Like Marshall's department store. So fall out of love with the game real quick. Absolutely, Jose. And I think once you put those guys in an environment like Dallas, you start dreaming again, bro. You start getting that extra work ethic.
So that's what I was gonna say.
You can say Alden, Gregory. You can name some players and a lot of players that just have this resurgence.
Hey, you know what I was gonna say? And I ain't even, because, that's a good point. Let's go look at it. But I'm going to tell you something that's probably even more, something that you can even more trackable is, man, they're going from non-competitive situations to competitive situations. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you like this, like, one thing about, like, a lot of these kids, like Amari Cooper, I'm pretty sure every single team that Amari Cooper has been on has been competitive. Because every team he was in high school was competitive, and he was damn sure competitive in Alabama. You know what I'm saying? Then you go to a situation where it's just like not competitive. Like, you're losing, and you're losing again. I remember when I think about it, I think about Kevin Garnett. A lot of people think about Kevin Garnett, but they don't think about Kevin Garnett in Minnesota when he was just losing and losing and losing. And I remember when they did an interview on Kevin Garnett, and I knew this is when Minnesota had to get him out of there. And it was for an All-Star game, right? And he started crying, man. And you know what he said? He said, man, I love the personal accolades, but at some point you just get tired of losing,
man.
And he was gone the next year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like bruh, like think about the names that you just said. Amari Cooper, bruh, and he was in Oakland, bruh. Hey man, he was literally the second option to a tight end. Let's just be real.
Freaking second option
to a tight end.
To a tight end. That was old.
That's just Derek Carr refusing to throw him the ball. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? So it's like
when the rumors start coming out. Does he love football? Joe. Like, no, he hates it.
But that's what the Cowboys do. They surround you around a bunch of other, sorry to say it, knuckleheads that's barely in the NFL. And they like, look, bro, we about to go get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if we don't go get it, we out of here.
Our last picks, if you look at our
love them knuckleheads
picks,
on the hot boys.
We are basically at this point fully invested into Marshall's picks.
Yeah, we are. We got a whole team.
Like D. Smith. It's other cats we not counting too. D.
Dakota,
Smith.
I see you, man.
Poe, McCoy, right? It's like this is the way that Dallas does it now. Clinton Dix. That's a Marshall's pick, a former first that looked like he fell off. And you know something
Coach Higgins said? And you know something Coach Higgins also, shout out to Coach Higgins, wide receiver guru. And he actually changed my mind on the Kirk. Not saying that I want to trade for him, but he did say this, man. You need competition. Like, you need guys to push other guys. You know what I'm saying? So, bringing in some guys on some 1-year deals, get these there's no guarantee. Like, think about this. Has a bigger name than Georgia Loca, but realistically, they're in the same position. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I knew for a fact Georgia Loca. I honestly thought Georgia Loca was gonna start for the Dallas Cowboys. And guess what? He didn't even make the team, bruh.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
At the last preseason game to his shoulder. And under that regime, they had predetermined rosters, and it was obvious. And he said it even on his podcast.
Shout out Miss Cynthia Bowen, I see you.
That it was pretty much understood that Heath and Xavier Woods was going to be the starter. And the same thing Kayvon Frazier said. Exactly. So that's what I'm so excited about with this new regime. This new regime seemed like they're going to be Parcellish, Bill Parcellish.
David says the 1-year deals work. They
1-year deals definitely work for sure. Great example on Charles Haley, Tom. Because he said that's also a Marshall's, because he was also thrown away out of San Fran. That's true. But like, I think this team is going to be Bill Parcellish, meaning this. One of the most famous statements that Bill Parcells made was they was getting ready to go into training camp. And they start having the media start talking about, is this guy going to start? Is this guy going to start? And Bill Parcells said this, and I loved him for it. He said, why do you think we got training camp? You think we just kind of just doing this for dress rehearsals? No, these guys still got to earn it, and they still got to compete. I think that's what we're getting ready to see with McCarthy. I think all his favorites and all these,
like
some
telling a guy he's starting before training camp even starts. Like, for example, Byron Jones.
Come in and like Kayvon said this, bro, talking to Big Game James, bro. It tripped me out, had me hotter than fish.
He was on Georgia Loca's podcast.
I'm sorry, it was Georgia Loca's podcast. Big James just replayed it. But this was the deal. The fact that, Kayvon came in and he said Xavier Woods was playing the nickel, which is true as a rookie.
And this is in April, guys. This is in April.
Yeah.
This is in April. They haven't even got to camp.
As a rookie, right?
Chris Harris has not seen, and he hasn't coached none of these guys. He hasn't coached none of these guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, so what happened was the coach from Seattle, man, came in, and before they even started, he said Xavier Woods gonna be our starter. And Kayvon said, man, you been here 2 days. You watch film? Like, damn, you made a starting decision and you just got here?
He said he was the slot last year.
Yeah, he was the nickel.
He was the slot.
So you looking at somebody play nickel, which is playing the slot, and you just looked at nickel film and had a vision of safety, even though I got tape at safety, and he does not in the league? We couldn't battle for that?
And he couldn't, yep. And think about this. He did it twice. He did it he did it twice. He did it with Byron Jones and Jordan Lewis because Jordan Lewis was starting at corner and Jordan Lewis got demoted in favor of Byron Jones. Two people got demoted. Two people got demoted the day Chris Richard became the passing game coordinator. Because Kayvon, because you got to remember, it was supposed to be an open camp for that free safety position because Church was gone. You know what I'm saying? So it was supposed to be open. It was either going to, and so everybody was assuming that we was going to draft somebody. You know what I'm saying? But at least allow the guys in the building to feel and think that they were at least going to fight it out. You know what I'm saying? How do you tell someone in April, like you've only been, and that's what I thought was so dope about. I mean, I appreciate Kayvon for keeping it real. He probably kept it way too real, but the guy's not.
He probably kept it way.
He probably kept it way too real, but he said it like he said it like literally. He was there too. He's like, you've only been here 2 days. Like, how do you like? And to be honest with you guys, like when this is your career and this is your job, man, that's a realistic question to ask somebody. Like, what you mean he's gonna do, bro? You only been working here 2 days. He only been working here 2 days.
He just start without putting his cleats on and backpedaling.
Yeah, and you're making that exactly.
And then, like, if we even look at the one that pisses me off, bro, and I'm gonna just be honest and say the word, man. Like, I saw you hesitate on it. The one that really pisses in my yogurt, bro, is Lewis. That man, that makes me mad, bro, because he was balling, and you don't take away developmental reps from a guy who started. From day one balling. You don't do that, bro.
A third round pick.
I hate pick. That, I get burned about that, bro. And then when you look at all the accolades, even going into the season last year, he had out of everybody in training camp, top 17, meaning out of everybody, he's the 17th best on his team. And they still started having a competition again with him and Anthony Brown. Oh my God.
I mean, that's what I want. And then, boss, think about this. If you are basically predetermining rosters before people even get out the field, that means you're not even finding diamonds in the rough. You're not finding them because you can't. You can't find diamonds in the rough.
Romo wouldn't have made it.
Like, think about this. You can't find the freaking Miles Austins. You can't find the Victor Cruzes. You want to know why? Because preseason don't count. Remember?
Drew Brees. Bledsoe's going to get all the reps.
Hey, boss, think about this. If preseason never counted, Victor Cruz never exists. Miles Austin never exists. Two guys who were born in preseason games. Cole Beasley never exists. Never exists. If preseason games didn't matter. So my thing is this: that's another thing. Like I Romo, another like my guy Romo, a great example. Another good thing about Romo: if preseason games don't exist, if they don't matter, how did those players who have gone on with the Dallas Cowboys to be pinnacles? I ain't gonna say great because when you just start great, they start picking it. Well, what does the G stand for? What does the R stand for? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, these are still players that we would say were who played the position well. And guess why they found them? You want to know why? Because of competition in preseason games. Tony Romo was sitting behind $100 million quarterback that we traded for in the name of Bledsoe. We traded for Bledsoe, remember? Now, if we don't allow the natural circle of competition to happen, you never have Tony Romo. Imagine that. Imagine if you never have Tony Romo.
Bruh, that's scary.
Imagine. You don't know why? So someone's already determined what they want.
Look forward to, bruh. To be honest, it's already so exciting. We got this draft coming up Thursday, bro. We got options whether we might stay still. We might move up.
Bruh, I think we trading. I think we moving. Jerry Jones said the word trade. Bruh, this is what I say. This is what he said. This one. Between it, the whole interview was for about 45 minutes. I counted him. He said the word trade at least 9 times.
He alluded to trading down a lot, though.
I mean, trading down, up, back, and forth. I just think it's cool.
Yeah, he gonna make a move.
Like, we just literally talked about that last night. But yeah, trading something. And think about, and it was so funny too, because Jerry Jones tries to always make exact points sometimes. He doesn't just believe that people understand what you're saying. So he'll be redundant with his points, right? And he says, this internet thing, it's been working so good these last 2 weeks. And it was just funny. No. He said it was tart or something like that. tart is a rich person's word for funny. It was real tart that it actually went down when we were on the clock trying to make a trade. Like, for real, Jerry Jones, that was the example you guys were trying to do?
Yeah. Now we gonna have some movement. This draft is
draft
is getting ready to be epically exciting.
Cracking.
It's a
Where
lot
you
to
gonna be at the
look
draft
forward
for? Where you
to,
gonna be?
man. It's a lot to look forward to. I'm
cracking.
anticipating, bro, that this draft is finna be epic
Cracking?
because the things that I'm hearing is allegedly there gonna be a lot more autonomy for Will.
It's gonna be autonomy for
McCarthy
everybody. They may not
said
have
that.
internet.
You know, so I just can't imagine McCarthy having more autonomy. Not McCarthy, Will McClay. I just like for him to manage to pick the players he's able to pick with his draft process, because it's a couple of things that came out that was epic that would have went over your head if you wasn't really paying attention. They asked McCarthy about his board, right?
Oh yeah, was it Fish? I don't know. But I know you. Go ahead.
Answer I loved. They said, yeah, we have a board, but more importantly, we have every position ranked so that we can know
who else did that, boss.
Smart. I just
who else did that, boss?
Who
else did that, boss? Boss, who else did that? Boss, who else did that? This entire draft process, people would ask us this: West Coast, who you picking at 17? Boss, who you picking at 17? I don't know who we picking at 17, but I can tell you the positions that are most important.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And he got them right.
Common sense. It's common sense drafting.
And so, like, for instance,
shout out Paris. I see you, man.
Having just a board, when you have the rankings
step back
of
a little
the positions,
sit your neck.
Groups, right?
There you go. You're good.
Can you hear me? Still okay?
You got a little distorted a little bit.
Okay, whatever. So, can you hear me now?
I can hear you did something, but you unplug and restart it. It's all good. But hey, man, you're absolutely right, man. And I mean, one thing I like about, because this is Jerry be telling the truth too, because I'm gonna tell y'all something. Like my grandma 82 years old, and she feels like this. She the matriarch of the family. She will say whatever she wants to say. She told me the other day, "You making some money out there talking, screaming in the garage?" I said, "Yeah, grandma." I said, "Yeah, grandma, oh my gosh." All right. You know what I'm saying? But hey, my grandma, she one of my biggest fans too, though. You know what I'm saying? But like, when you get to that certain age, you just feel that you can say what you want to say.
Spoke that so grandmama in.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? You making some money out there yelling in the garage?
Boy,
yes,
that's so grandma
yelling in the garage.
Yeah.
That's how I feel Jerry Jones to be sometimes. Like Jerry Jones feels like he get to that point where it's like, who is gonna check an 80-year-old billionaire?
But I want to talk back about this draft real quick.
Go ahead. You back.
Order, bro. So everybody know about, draft orders, and a couple of things came out is they spent the last 2 weeks really having consensus.
Appreciate you, Miss Tony.
On the board. So by the time those players come available, they've already debated those scenarios. So and I think Steven was honest about that. Like 99% of the time, we already pretty much know who our high people are per round that we're targeting, right? And a strategy. But what they also do is they rank everybody by position so they can know what's deep and left over, right? What's rare. Like they have a super good process under Will McClay, bro, to where I just don't see how we not finna walk out of this draft literally acting like we just won a Super Bowl off the draft. I think it's getting ready to, I think all the common sense that we've been waiting to see is getting ready to come out even more, because I've already believed Steven, Jerry, and Will McClay together is on the level of New England in terms of personnel, not coaching, but personnel. But I think they finna take another step up, man, which is even scary. And you can believe what I'm saying. And the reason you can believe what I'm saying, just give your honest opinion on what's going on in free agency. Anybody mad at it?
Yeah, man. I mean, my thing is this. Like, even if Coach McCartney don't do nothing in the draft and he just says, Will, I'll see you on Sunday, okay? And we'll just do what you've been doing the rest of the years. We basically good, man. Like if the NFL said, man, we ain't gonna have a draft, Like, this is the real question, right? If the NFL said, due to the circumstances, there will be no draft, everybody's going to have to play with the kids they have right now. Do you feel comfortable with the team you have right now? And I'm going to be honest with you guys, outside of hoping someone can score 1 or 2 more touchdowns, I'm good. Like, I'm good. Like, do we need more points? Yes, but I feel like my defense is that just means my defense is going to be on the field a little bit more longer. But do I feel like last year where I was hoping that I needed a 2nd round pick to come in here and save my life? No. Do I feel like, man, I don't even feel as bad as I did in 2018 when we drafted LVE. Because every time that we went in the draft, I was like, oh my God, if we don't draft this guy, I don't know what's the hell's going to happen. But now, like, we killed it so much in free agency. I'm like, bruh, sell the pick. Matter of fact, let's see how much we can get for the pick. That's where you want to be. Because if you are not in that position going into the draft, then you're not really free and comfortable. It's like I tell my buddy G, he always says, man, G always gives an example. It's hard for me to create. I said, nah, man, it's easy for to create. It's hard to create on demand for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But when you just got to think of something random off your top of your head, your mind just goes da-da-da-da. You want to know why? Because there's no boundaries. When I say, hey, I need a design for this, you know what I just did? I gave you an expectation, and I also created boundaries and confines for you to stay within. So are you really creative? Are you really free? No, you're not. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Dallas Cowboys, make sure that there's no clear holes on your team. Like, as much as we want to say there's no clear holes on our team, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's no clear holes. And I'm going to tell you, right. and as much as I want a new right end, because I think the commissioner's doing some shady stuff with not, like, come on, man, why would you not reinstate these guys before the draft so at least teams know what they want to do? Like, that's like some, like, bruh, like, why would you not, like, hook a brother up? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Scott, you're being a real bonehead here, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would the commissioner not say, I'm gonna release? Want to know why? Because that makes sure that some of these other kids get drafted and get pushed into the league. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, man.
That's funny to you, isn't it, boss?
But yeah, man, I want to address it because
he specifically
what's going
said that.
on, in my opinion, with the Dallas Cowboys is epic envy.
Hell yeah, they like, oh my God.
Because see, people got to realize Goodell has his power from the owners who vote him in.
Yep.
And they're going to, and whenever you're voted in the power, the people that vote you in are called your constituents, meaning they basically own you. So a lot of times we'll look at this as if Goodell is just being petty to Jerry. A lot of times Goodell is a signal of what the other owners feel about Jerry. Now, some of the owners love Jerry. Like, if you the Rams, you love him.
Raiders,
you get the stadium. If you the Raiders, you love him. He helped you get that stadium. Atlanta, you shady because he still helped you get that stadium, and you still be hating.
You still be hating. That for real, man.
Yeah, Jerry helped you get that stadium, and you still hating on the man.
And you know how I feel about Atlanta and the city of Atlanta and how they treated us. Like, gosh.
So it's
spit in my wife's face. I'm
where when you see Goodell kind of slapping Jerry around a little bit to the point to where Jerry always takes pride in having an answer. He's the owner that loves to give an answer because he's a Kardashian type of owner, meaning the reality TV of Jerry is what makes him wealthy. So he's not like the other owners who like to go in the cut and be quiet.
You have to actually win games to be successful.
And you have to actually win games to be rich. No, Jerry, like, I'm rich because I just keep talking.
Exactly.
And I keep drama going.
I have a brand. I actually have a brand.
I'm gonna keep money going.
What's up, you, Loretta?
Say that again, bro.
Oh, I was just saying, what up to Loretta? She up here sliding in the door like she was late for the first day of school, like I ain't see her. I seen you, Loretta. Go ahead, sit down.
Right on.
I seen you.
But this is the deal. So when you see Jerry getting slapped around to the point to where he even said today on the press conference, I dare not even go there. Because
so basically what he said is y'all need to watch your mouth. That's what Jerry
other owners like to call Goodell and be like, we don't think that it's right that Jerry just did a buy and hold strategy on those guys. Is that ethical, Goodell?
Hey, boss,
what are you gonna do to keep Jerry lying?
Hey, go find that dude. There was this one day when boss was really, really mad, and this dude just really just got under his skin. And it was over Josh Gordon. Can we go find that guy?
Oh man. Oh, that was trolling me over the buy and hold
Yes.
strategy.
Can we go find that guy? I just
Oh,
feel like
man.
he might
gladly got that
somebody
guy,
may
bro.
not rub this in his face, so he may get
Yeah.
away with it. Because sometimes if you don't rub stuff in their face, then people really be
They
thinking
don't
you
get
just
it.
be out here tripping. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I call something, I'm letting you know, hey man, I told y'all, Grunk. I told y'all. So when Andrew Luck come back and he mysteriously lands on a team, don't be surprised. I'm gonna tell
You
y'all.
said it. I
I'm
said
gonna tell
that
y'all.
too.
Remember, I ain't got the
I
corona. I
think
got
Frederick's coming back.
Cannabisaurus. Huh?
I think Frederick's coming back.
I mean, what? I mean, this is the thing. At the end of the day, bro, we all know that there are drugs that normal humans called steroids. I could literally break my. Matter of fact, I was on a steroid. To help my. You guys know my Achilles. I tore my Achilles playing in a men league, and shouldn't have been out there anyway. But I was out there, and guess you know what they gave me to speed the growth of my Achilles because I didn't take the surgery. They gave me a steroid.
Yeah.
They gave me.
Yeah.
And it made my stomach hurt. You know what I'm saying? But they gave me a steroid.
Right.
So I know a lot of, and guess what? If when Ray Lewis tore his labrum and he was trying to get it better, I'm not saying he did, but it's like, a regular person can just go get a steroid and help grow and get that. An athlete can't do that. And most of the
Right.
time where these guys are taking these things, and this is just to even talk about that, I mean, a lot of time it's for actually for healing. It ain't for recreation. It ain't for any of that. It's for healing. It's for restructuring and getting them back out there on that football field, man. You know what I'm saying? My boy
Right.
Henry says that's why I give Falcon fans so much hell. You absolutely right, man.
Man,
Because
kill him, bro.
we
I can't
basically
stand him.
we
Yes,
basically
give him
gave you
all
the
the hell,
blueprint.
bro.
We
Please,
gave you
thank
the
you. And I
blueprint on how to
appreciate
get
you.
a stadium. On how to
Yes.
get a stadium. Y'all they so disrespectful, bro.
Right. Like people don't know that Jerry's behind all these stadiums, bro. That was Jerry's job coming out of college was commercial real estate. That was his first job. So commercial real estate is what he does with that's his second
And the
$1
Chargers,
billion
be honest
business.
with you, oh yeah, because they play in the same stadium. And the cool thing about it is where Jerry Jones did it is he's making it so that they're not going to the taxpayers and getting the taxpayers to pay for these stadiums. You know what I'm
Yeah, he
saying?
know how to finance
They're
it.
getting cities to take
know
care
the
of 'em like
A through Z.
like AT&T Stadium. I dare you go Google who's the owner of AT&T Stadium. You know who it is? The city of Arlington. Go Google who owns the AT&T Stadium.
Beautiful
the city
deal.
of Arlington. And guess
Yeah.
who also plays in it? Everybody and their mama.
Yes.
Like I didn't
high
see
school,
semi-pro league. I didn't see high school
Little
games play.
League. Hey, boy, he's like Earl Spence fights in it.
Yeah. They use
Even
it
at
for
the
everything.
practice facility at the Star. So it's
Because it's turning it no longer from from a stadium to
wrong,
an
and I hate it
entertainment center.
that basically we basically because of envy, and that's what it is. If Goodell didn't have the constituents that he has with those other owners, he would love Jerry, bro. Because actually, Jerry and Goodell a great team, bro. Like seriously, like take out all the jealousy and hate. If you look at the growth of the league because of those two men, they knocking it out the park, brother.
And to be honest with you, I don't even think there's a lot of jealousy. I don't even think there's a lot of jealousy and hate because last year
not between them. I think it's the other owners.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely between because I mean, at the end of the day, Goodell isn't going to make a single decision to not reinstate players before the draft, without the decision, without, taking that to all the owners. And I think at the end of the day,
and they go hate on you.
That's definitely a situation where the Dallas Cowboys will have gotten over on everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it was forethought. And it's the exact same reason that the Kennedys became wealthy with alcohol. Because alcohol was treated like marijuana. That's just what it was. But the Kennedys had the forethought to lobby to get it
legalized.
And they stocked up on it so that when it became legal, they cornered the market. That's what Jerry did with buy and hold. So you going to get Alden Smith, you going to get Gregory, is getting epic potential players with epic upside if you can make that happen and you got it for dirt cheap. So when you do stuff like that, other owners get mad and say, why didn't I think of that? Jerry was already way ahead of that. And Jerry was so ahead of it, he was lobbying for marijuana to be treated differently because he wanted to do the buy and hold strategy. He even alluded to it today. When they talked to him about it, he said, we basically got it changed to where it's going to be looked at differently, to where it's more of a medical issue, to where we can get doctors to report that they're having a better change of life. I'm not quoting him directly, but basically that's what he was saying. Where they're basically going in the right direction, we're gonna not treat them like criminals and put all the punitive damages on those guys. So yeah, I mean, Jerry, like, listen, that type of forethought, people get envious of that, man. That's just what it is. So yeah, to go back to your question, man, on how Goodell basically screwed us over by not letting those guys be already certain that they're going to be reinstated before, because now we going into the draft frankly uncertain. Because then what if we get Chase on and then be like, damn, did we need Chase on? Because you see what I'm saying? You just like we did with Witten. When Witten all of a sudden just decided that he was going to retire, they just messed up the whole board.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And man, I'm in conversation right now trying to, AG, I know if you can hear me, you might want to get that screen set up. I got some text messages.
Jane coming
on. Yeah, possibility. Boss Cowboy, you was right with the call. Should have hit her up on the phone. She's like, he's high pros tip email.
Y'all scared. Don't call Jane. Be respectful.
Hey man, I'm just saying, man. Y'all just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Listen, Jane make you like this though.
Hey man, I just didn't want to.
So Jay, we finna put in overtime. So that means if you get on this show, you got to kick your feet up and relax. You got to just go through all the questions because we put in overtime, Jane. That just
man.
And then everybody been waiting on you. You
she ain't on yet, but
Lauren Hill. You know what I mean? We waited 2 hours to just hear you do one song, so you got to sing.
You got to sing that thing, right? Like, let me see if I can get her in here. She said she's going to hop on here in a minute. So we're going to see right now, man. Hey, but, man, I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with us this whole entire time, man. I told you guys we were going to be getting her on here at some point, man. And,
man, people done jumped off a little bit, too, man.
It's all good. It's all good.
In here. Hey, look, y'all need to start sharing then. Start sharing and say, Jane coming, Jane coming, Jane coming, Jane coming. Dun, 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 dun. You know what I mean? Start sharing,
man. Hey, but man, while we're on that, let's go ahead and let's kind of talk about that this Dez Bryant, man. What are your thoughts, man, on a Dez Bryant? Kind of get ourselves ready if she's able to jump on here at some point. Get ourselves ready for a conversation about one Dez Bryant, man. What are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts? I saw a tweet go out. Mike Fisher said earlier where he said that he thought that the talks between Dez Bryant and the Dallas Cowboys or anybody would probably speed up here a little bit after the draft. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that, man?
I think it's prudent.
Big word.
Very smart of Dallas to put that on pause because you really want to see what's going to happen with this draft. You want to let the draft play out, right? So that you can then kind of look at your domino hand, for lack of better words, or your card hand, and you can have a strategy of what's going to be the next play. And right now, just from a resource standpoint, you really want to.
All right, so yeah, so G, I got her burping in right now. I got her coming in right now, G. All right, G. Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Hello. How you doing?
I'm good. I am so sorry, guys. I was under the impression that this was radio, and I was under the impression that you were calling me. So, needless to say, the Cowboys got me a little bit behind today because their teleconference, they were having some technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
So that literally, it's been Zoom calls, work meetings, and recording a whole bunch of hits because things are a little tricky right now with our technology, how we're getting on air as reporters. We're actually recording stuff here at home. So you're seeing my sort of home cam and my setup. And then I'm sending myself the hits, editing them, and then getting them to my bosses. So I had about 6 of those that I had to record tonight. So it's been a busy day. Sorry about that.
And one more thing too, Jay, real quick. We're not that vain where we're wearing shades at night. CEV is a sponsor of the show with Jalen, so we support him by every now and then wearing the shades. So I didn't want you to think we're crazy. No, we do this occasionally to support him for being a sponsor. What he does.
You got a little Clear IV sponsorship. These are not Clear IV, so I probably shouldn't put these on. But the blue light technology is huge, guys.
There you go.
Absolutely. But the one thing I like about you is like you're able to do that. You're able to have a clear eye view regardless if you have the glasses on or not. You know what I'm saying?
I
And
see the segue.
yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. Like, a lot of people have asked me, like, why I have like a high admiration for yourself, and the reason why we do here is because being independent, we understand about kind of like not necessarily saying we don't have a voice, but our voice not getting heard. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of times we think like the underground, people who are like more who want to know those real facts. And when you're out there and you're looking for honest reporting, you're always consistent with your questions. And I always tell myself, if I had this moment to be in front of Jerry Jones, what kind of question would I ask?
And
like
she
about
asked.
Dak Prescott. And then you ask it.
She does it.
And then you
We
ask it,
killed
and
it
you've
today
done
too,
it,
by
and
the
you've done
way.
it, and you've
Great
done it so
job.
consistently that I was just, I was definitely eager to get you on the show and kind of go over some questions and things. I know time is of the essence, so we're gonna,
you guys are good.
so if you don't mind, we're gonna jump right into this thing. If you don't, let's jump right into it. So kind of to start this thing off, you had a really good outside of the technical issues, you had a really good question, kind of double down as far as when you were talking to Mike McCarthy about the participation of Dak Prescott. And I hate assuming, but I feel like a question that easy could have been sufficed with a yes or no answer, but for whatever reason they replaced it with other things. So you being I just want your honest opinion. What do you think is going on, and why has it taken 2 years for Dak Prescott to get to today where he's still waiting on a contract?
So a lot to unpack here. So in the presser, Clarence Hill, we had an order of how the reporters were going to ask questions. In other words, David Moore was first, and then Clarence Hill, and then I was kind of low on the list. Ed Werder was after me, so that's good. I'm kidding. I love Ed. But Clarence had asked a question we were all working towards, and quite frankly, I had reached out to quite a few sources on Monday to confirm whether Dak Prescott was going to be part of OTAs. Why is that a big deal when it's voluntary? Well, it's a big deal when you consider that you have a new coach who really hasn't had a lot of face time with his players, and who, while he's trying to keep the terminology as close to what they used and still kind of have some of that base of what they were running with Kellen Moore, Scott Linehan, those guys, this is still going to be a new offense. He's admitted that. So I thought it was an important question given a new coaching staff, the pandemic, the importance of building camaraderie in a Zoom room if you can. I mean, I've noticed even at my own network, having that touch point right now has been good. We've had positive conversations. And so when Clarence asked it, I don't know if you guys have the audio and you played it back, he's made it sound like Dak was in the virtual chat.
Yes, that's what I said.
And so
Yes.
to peel the curtain back, I'm composing a tweet, and just to be careful, I reached out to Cowboys PR, and I reached out to some reporters in a side text, because the way the conference call was today, we couldn't see who was on the call, and they couldn't see us. And so if you heard me saying a couple of times, I just, I want to make sure this isn't contentious. When you can't see a person asking you a question, and I'm sort of doubling down on you, especially with a new coach that I don't have a relationship with, I wanted to make it very clear to him, I wasn't trying to, I got you, or I'm trying to make this adversarial. I want to make sure I'm getting it right, especially since you don't know me like that. And I don't want to infer or misinterpret you. So when I went back, all of a sudden, instead of saying that Dak was sort of in this virtual chat, now it's, I'm not giving the roll call. Dak has been in touch with the coaches, and it's voluntary. That sure sounds like, again, I don't want to infer here, so I'll just let you guys read between the lines. But I thought that was interesting. Now, someone had told me, oh, well, within the organization, it's really a non-story. I get that he doesn't have a contract. He's not getting paid to go to voluntary OTAs right now, right? But it isn't story. And as I reminded this person, if the third string running back breathes, it's a story in Dallas.
Yeah.
So this is your quarterback who had threatened to hold out, which again is not a fair terminology because he's not holding out. He's simply just withholding his services. And this is also on the Cowboys. If you think about it, the Cowboys, interestingly enough, have never really had the contracts in recent years get to this point where a player's entering his final year and they don't have an extension. But that's the case with Dak. Now, if they had gotten this thing done before Jared Goff or Carson Wentz, they wouldn't be here. But a few things just to marinate on and ruminate that I may not necessarily say on the NFL Network. This is me talking out loud. And again, I don't know these answers. So this is, again, me just talking with fans and trying to address some of the things you guys are talking about. What if this pandemic affects 16 games this season? What if Mike McCarthy doesn't get these OTAs and gets an abbreviated training camp? Does it behoove the Cowboys then to say, why am I going to pay this quarterback all this money if it's not going to really matter this year? In other words, he's going to sign likely the franchise tag because, as I understood it with even Ezekiel Elliott and DeMarcus Lawrence and those guys, if they don't sign those franchise tags, whenever they decide to come back, they still have to sign the tag, right? They hold his exclusive rights this year. So they could just renegotiate with them next year regardless and kind of save themselves a little bit of money this year. Now, that doesn't make a ton of sense when you consider they're still paying him $31 million this year, right? So, but I just wonder, like, now, does that affect your leverage, Todd France, just a little bit, given that we don't know what this is going to look like this year? Again, I don't know. I think I'm reaching a little bit there. It's just something that popped in my head today. And I don't know if I'd ever get a straight answer on that, quite frankly. But I do think that this whole thing has gotten interesting in the sense that Todd France has made them feel like the Cowboys have to do this contract extension. And the Cowboys are sort of going, no, we don't. In fact, we can tag you again next year. So we'll sort of see where this whole thing shakes out. I did get some clarity on, I thought it curious that they released this virtual chat with OU quarterback Jalen Hurts. And I'm like, oh, are the Cowboys being messy? I was told don't read into that too much. In fact, I had also reported earlier that they had talked to Florida International QB James Morgan, who, interestingly enough, his coach, I actually sat down with James and his coach at Conference USA when it was at the Star in Frisco last summer. And that coach is Butch Davis, and as Cowboy fans will remember, he was a defensive coordinator under Jimmy Johnson and wins the Super Bowl. So there's sort of a nice story there, but it was the Cowboys talking about, and specifically McCarthy, the importance of looking at a quarterback in this draft, whether it be in the earlier rounds or the later rounds. I don't see them picking one at 17. That would be ridiculous. It is because if you look at the template in Green Bay since 1992, they only had two starting quarterbacks, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. All the quarterbacks that they brought in were young players that they developed and used as draft value, a commodity the Cowboys have been absolutely terrible at. In fact, I went to our research department and said, when's the last time the Cowboys used a quarterback as a tradable commodity? Can you guys guess when that was? Very few will know this.
Ooh.
It wasn't Quincy because we let him go.
A draftable
Henson?
commodity. That would probably be with Aikman and the Miami quarterback.
You're getting close. So the year they took Troy Aikman, they picked up Steve Walsh in the supplement as one of their supplemental guys.
Oh, good job.
And so Steve Walsh got traded to the Saints in 1990.
Good job, boss.
They picked up a first and third pick for the 91 draft, and then they got a second round pick in the 1992 draft. But that is an example, which I think they ended up picking up Quincy Carter with one of those picks, which is kind of funny. They actually haven't picked a quarterback in the first 3 rounds since Quincy Carter. Another fun fact that I reported the other day. But I think some people were reading into the fact, they're looking at quarterbacks. They're clearly tired of Dak, or they're looking for an heir apparent. Kind of look at this more of like a Jimmy G situation. Look at what a commodity Jimmy was for Belichick. And I'm sure they wish they had hung on to him with Tom Brady in the exodus that is today. What crazy news. But just some clarity on that as well. Another takeaway from today's presser was, you talked about why not just answer the question? Why are you guys being so dodgy? This 4-3-3-4 defense. I had been reporting that they were moving more towards a 3-4 system. He didn't really answer that question. So that was my other, I went back to get clarity. And so I'm sure he was like,
I saw that on your tweet. I loved it.
What is this chick's deal? Get off me, Slater. again, I thought that was interesting because a lot of people have been questioning Leighton Vander Esch's health because they've been looking at these linebackers. I've been able to confirm that they looked at Patrick Queen at LSU. They really like Kenneth Murray out of OU. And I was told Leighton is fine. He's been training and working out in Idaho. Idaho with his wife, Maddie, and he's good to go. This is because Mike Nolan's system, and he at least said this today, which was a slight admission. He said that it's going to be a 4-3 defense with a lot of 3-4 principles. Well, I've been told a lot of 3-4 principles. In fact, that's why they went and got Alden Smith. At least one other player is confirmed it's a 3-4 defense. Chason, the kid, Calebon out of LSU, edge rusher. Of course, Mike Nolan knows him well because he's been in his backyard. He's more of a 4-3 guy. And then I was also told in this scenario, Leighton Vander Esch would move to the Mike position and you would see Jalen Smith rushing more. So they're calling it 4-3 with 3-4 principles. Cool. But expect to see a lot of 3-4 stuff is, I guess, what I'm getting at.
My question to that is, what happens to that guy that he drives a tank to work? He has dreads, wears number 90, likes to put his hand in the dirt. What happens to that guy? Oh yeah, Jane.
Great question.
That extension is going to start sometime this year, I think. So
with that West
where
Coast,
where does that land, my guy? Like, I got this big hot boy sticker behind me.
we have other guys that can also pressure.
Yeah, but D-Law, I'm not speaking for D-Law, but I'm just saying his tape says that he prefers to have his hand in the dirt.
Yes. That first
and you
step
paid
coming
him,
off the ground.
you paid him a ton of money to put his hand in the dirt.
Which may be why they are being very deliberate and calling it a 4-3. And maybe they're going to ask of D-Law to do other things. I don't know. They're we'll see.
Yeah.
And again, we haven't seen these players. We don't have the virtue of seeing these players or, really talking to a ton of them. As a reporter, I try to be judicious in who I go to at what times for information. And I think I realized the challenges of this pandemic for them. A lot of them are spending more time than they ever have in the off season with their families. They've got questions about, the league and what the next season's going to look like. And so I'm not trying to bog them down with questions, especially putting players in a weird spot with a new coaching staff, leaking a lot of information right now, if that makes sense. Because I don't think you want to start getting into a situation where the coaching staff begins to feel like they can't trust their locker room.
That's true. You brought up the pandemic a few times. Just off of what you've seen over the past seasons, if the past seasons are normal, if on a scale of maybe like how normal is this situation not, our teams? Because you're not able to do like workouts. There's so many different things. Like, are teams still looking at this draft as a normal draft, or are they kind of like filtering it through the sphere of this might be a little tainted, a little bit? I know nobody wants to say.
So a few things on that. I'll address how teams are viewing this in the draft, and then I'm going to come back to just this situation as a whole, because I don't think people have really wrapped their arms around it, and I've been hearing some things that I think are fascinating. Talking to coaches will tell me, look, we typically don't scout college players, period. We rely heavily on the tape. And so it's sort of like this underwear Olympics when they show up at the facility and do some of these drills. This is forcing them to rely on the tape. When I talked to the Titans the other day, and I think that this probably even applies, to other teams, it was John Robinson, the GM, and even Mike Grable, the head coach, who said there were, obviously when you're at the combine, these guys are going through this drill of, 30 interviews a night, right? And so by the time they get to each coach and you're getting them to walk through a whiteboard and regurgitating plays back, et cetera, they're a mess. They've been through the workouts. This year, the way they did it was a little different too with the night workouts. They circled back with a few of the guys, and those guys they said seeing them in their home setting, the way you're kind of seeing me in mine. And I don't know if it's because when you're not in a room face to face with someone, maybe you can be a little bit more yourself because it doesn't feel like you kind of have to feel the room, put on airs. they said that they got more of an authentic feel for some of the guys, seeing them in their settings and their homes. And I've done a lot of prospect interviews, even I do a podcast for the Herd called the Boys and Girl Podcast. And in talking to the players, their mornings have been lined up with the interviews, and then they're trying to do body weight exercises in their houses. Or in the situation with James Morgan, he lives in Green Bay, Wisconsin, which again is an interesting parallel for he grew up a huge Packers fan, and his brother actually played on an AAU basketball team with Mike McCarthy's son, but he didn't know Mike like that at that time. He got kicked out of a park. The police got called on him just for throwing the ball with his sister who was snapping the ball and his brother who was rushing him and his dad who was catching the ball. So, you saw Tom Brady get kicked out of the park in Tampa. There's been a challenge for these guys just to work out who don't have a home gym or access to a gym right now. So the big thing that I keep hearing, not only from players, but from coaches, is the importance of their players to be self-motivated, to be self-starters. I had one coach in the league tell me that he's not even going to do the OTAs. In fact, he's telling his players, no OTAs. It's going to be a lot like the lockout. I'll see you guys at the start of training camp. So
Wow.
I want you guys to sort of wrap your brains around, because I live here in Texas. Governor Abbott has already started opening some stuff up. In other words, the parks are open. Retailers this week are able to start opening, and as long as it's curbside, you can gather in groups of 5. And then he is opening it up even more in May. Now, Dallas County is trying to say May 15th, and then we'll revisit. But you're seeing even Georgia is allowing people to go to the bowling alley, and they're allowed to go to the movie theater, and barbershops are opening. I think a lot of people think we're just going to have this return to normal. In other words, the NFL's got this perfect timing. This is typically our off season. We're going to be getting back to business. I'm hearing a very real scenario that whether it be the beginning of the season or at some point in the season, we're going to be playing games without fans. And then what does that look like for reporters? Well, reporters, we might sort of be cordoned off from everybody, and our access to players may be over a Zoom chat or over headphones, or kind of think NASCAR, like you could listen into player 1 or player 2 in the locker room. This is like conversations that are being had right now. And I think there's a lot of fans that are just like, oh, it's going to be business as usual. I'm hearing there are very real contingency plans being addressed, because I think if you listen to anyone with the CDC, this thing's coming back in the fall. And so I think, again, fans are starting to see, like Jacksonville, your beaches are open. But if California doesn't allow there to be sporting events or live events, as Governor Newsom has been talking about,
2021.
Right. A lot of these teams are going to have to find a neutral site to play. What does that look like? So there are all these discussions that are being had, but I think that the sports fan sees the NFL draft coming up, and there's talk of PGA beginning. Even the PGA is going to look different. There's not going to be a gallery. They're talking about Memorial Day weekend here in Fort Worth is going to be their first event, the Colonial. But I do think that the sports fan is just going, oh, it's going to be back to normal. It's not going to be back to normal for the players. They're not going to have, like I said, the OTAs. But I think people think a lot of this amazing stuff happens in OTAs. As one coach told me, we're already reintroducing a lot of this stuff back at training camp. Like you start, you stop. So really, again, it's just on the players to stay sort of self-engaged, self-aware. And, the coaches are going to expect that when they show up to training camp. And when training camp happens, and we even asked this today, I don't know if it makes sense for the Cowboys to have training camp in Oxnard.
Don't say that, Jane. I live in Cali. Don't say that, Jane.
I could legitimately see the Cowboys doing training camp in Frisco this year.
Wow. And Jane, I wanted to kind of go back a little bit on Dak, because you one of your best shows that I listen to on the Boys and Girls podcast, and everybody support Jane. Now, if you want to kind of hear clickbait stuff, don't listen to the show, because you're not going to hear that. You're going to hear where they try to be very careful, very safe, and really try to make sure that it's validated. And on December 5th, that was my favorite show, and that was with Charles Robinson. You remember that?
Oh, I love Charles. He's great.
Yeah, y'all knocked it out the park. But the thing that really just kind of stood out to me was, obviously you was told about the $40 million, and that came out. but they went into more detail, Charles did, and y'all was discussing it, you and Bob, about the fact that really the 40 million was more so a counter offer is what I was kind of, and it was more so that they felt insulted with 25 million, right?
It was,
making
yeah,
sure
it was,
I'm getting it right.
yeah, you're right. It was kind of like an FU. Oh, you're not going to pay me this? Then this is what we want. But that was a real ask, I was told. And so while his camp has discredited that report from the jump, that's what they asked.
Right.
And I truly, I think the number I was told was more than Jared Goff yearly. It's still this years thing. And look, it's shrewd. It's a shrewd agent. I mean, I would appreciate it if it was my guy. But they are looking more at a 4-year deal so they can come back to the table after Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson get paid and reset the market again. So, I mean, you can look at that, multiple ways. Would you rather have a contract and feel safe and have that guarantee there? Or do you want to bet on yourself and see what this looks like in 4 years? I guess my only gamble is Mike McCarthy's high on him now, I'm told. What if Mike McCarthy's not high on him in 3 or 4 years? What if, other teams are like, oh, he's not as great as we thought he was. And as a result, you don't get that money. What I'll say on all of that is Dak Prescott believes in himself. Dak is one of those guys that's always bet on himself. And he has played for, rookie minimums. He didn't get that fat guarantee that you get when you go in the first round and whatnot. Remember, he was a 4th-stringer. He was behind Jamil Showers on the depth chart. And I just think it's admirable, all the things that he's done. I mean, he's done everything the right way. I mean, even with this debacle about this party at his house, which is such a joke. I've talked to people and there weren't 12 people. It wasn't a rager.
Right.
As I reported, the restaurant, and I've been there, I go there probably once a week. It's a big steakhouse here in Dallas. It's where I did the big Des Bryant sit down. He ordered food, and as even Nick and Sam's told me, this wasn't food for 20 people. They threw in extra food because he made this sizable donation to them delivering meals to first responders. That got lost in the TMZ story. And then the girls there filmed what a birthday setup would look like for when pandemic breaks and for one of the people at the party. They've done a similar setup for me. Now, they didn't film it on Zoom, but if anything, Dak Prescott just needs to ask who his friends are because that picture got leaked.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Right. But that was probably the only misstep that Dak has had. And then, of course, he got nailed for working out with Des Bryant. But the kid always does things the right way for you. To me, he's like the golden boy of the franchise. And then, he navigated, you lost your starting quarterback to a back injury in Tony Romo. Not only did Romo not get a chance to compete with him, he won the locker room over. Absolutely. Zeke got suspended for 6 games. He won 3 of those. Yeah. Then you had to deal with, navigating the fact that everyone's asking you, where's your best friend? Why is he not at training camp last year? He's in Cabo, handled that like a champ. And he never let the contract. He could have sat out camp last year. He didn't do that.
No.
So, we've overpaid, some would argue, I won't say they did, but some would argue they overpaid DeMarcus Lawrence. They paid Jalen Smith. You paid Zeke more than he was asking for 2 years ahead of his contract being up, but yet you're sort of hemming and hawing on arguably the most important guy in your building.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And Jane, just one quick follow-up on that. One of the things you also said was, I think it was March 2nd, was that the locker room wants Dak to get paid. I think that was one of the quotes, is just because, when we talking to Jane, obviously West Coast and I, we have relationship with players, but it's not going to be to your level, right? But that shocked me. It's like, are you really saying that guys are lobbying, not obviously out loud, but just as you with your contacts and sources, that they really are hoping for that? Did I hear you right on that?
They've said it publicly. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott said it on Good Morning Football at the Pro Bowl to us. DeMarcus Lawrence has said it.
Right.
Even DeMarcus Lawrence said, don't ask one man about another man's
money.
Because he got paid.
Right.
But he is so respected by I've never seen a player that I've ever covered that has been so quickly embraced by, he won Des Bryant over within the first couple of I think it was OTAs is when Dez told me he knew he was the guy. I mean, this is a veteran, kind of a salty veteran player. And Dez has never, he's always been against the hazing because of the way he was hazed by Roy Williams, not carrying the pads. And he later said, interesting backstory. He said Roy actually apologized to that many years later, but he's always been really good with rookies and whatnot. But it was the way Dak just came in and galvanized that team, and just the way that like players would tell me that they could be down and out in a game. The knock on Tony Romo for a long time was, how was he going to lose the game in the fourth quarter? And I saw this team when they went 13-3 as rookie season, they believed they could win no matter what the situation was. And even the last couple of years. And so isn't that the type of guy you can't replace those? And then he had over 4,000 yards throwing. He became a throwing quarterback for you when you thought that he was only a guy that could run the ball for you. That was more of the Mississippi State guy that we were used to. So I'm like, what other boxes are you guys looking to check? I don't really get it.
Yeah, you brought up Dez. Before we let you out of here, man, I got to ask you about two kind of Texas boys that are trying to, whether it be, I know one for sure want to come home, but, one is said in the media and his team, I'm talking about Jamal Adams and one Dez Bryant. I mean, if I'm a betting man, what are the chances that we get two of them former Texas boys to come home, or is this a 50-50 shot, or what are you? Because I mean, Jerry Jones, when he spoke today about Jamal Adams, he was very candid and very, I'm always hesitant when Jerry Jones is very direct, because it lets me know, is he trying to send me a message or is he trying to send the Jets a message? Because like it kind of sounded like he was like definitely out with trading for Jamal, but at the same time, I feel like. Was it kind of posturing? But more importantly, what are your thoughts on a possible, of Jamal Adams or Dez Bryant coming to Dallas next year or this 2020?
Jamal Adams to me is your Earl Thomas. I once joked on NFL Network that if I had $1 for every Earl Thomas rumor that I ran down, I'd be retired in the British Virgin Islands, which is my end game.
She's already planned. She's already thought about this.
It's just. It's not happening.
For 1 second for clear our views.
I would be very surprised.
Sean Payton in there too.
Yeah, I would be very surprised. Look, they've made plays before, right? They went after Sean Payton. I told you guys that last offseason. They went after Jamal Adams. I reported that. I told you guys, like, they made a robust offer for him and it wasn't enough. Why is that going to excite them now? It sounds like that relationship with the Jets has gotten so contentious. Maybe they're just going to wait to see if the Jets just let him go. People forget that if you're going to give up something for a veteran player like him, but like Earl Thomas, you also have to sign them to a contract worthy of a player like them. You're trying to get Dak Prescott signed and you're telling me, hey, Dak, I'm not going to give you a contract extension, but I'm going to go sign this guy over here. I already gave Amari Cooper a bunch of money, and I got DeMarcus Lawrence done, but you're still like, we'll figure you out at some point. I just don't see it happening. And I was told by a source that I completely trust, they said it's not top of mind. So I know that I upset some people out there that really got excited about the Jamal Adams stuff. I can only tell you what I know. And to your point, I feel like Jerry was far more direct about addressing that, what I will call a rumor, than he has been about rumors in the past.
What about Dez?
Dez. There is a very real interest in Dez. I know the Cowboys have talked to Dez. I think Dez makes sense when you consider the challenges of these medicals that teams are going to have when they're trying to figure out where a player's at in free agency when they go after a veteran. At least this is a devil that he's been working out next to the facility. People know him, and if I know Dez, he'll find a way to get his medicals. you know what I'm saying? So I feel like he makes sense, and I don't think he's going to be a locker room cancer, as some people use that narrative. I've seen him work out with guys like Corey Coleman and Lil Jordan Humphrey and saw the way that he was coaching them up. I saw him when he was in New Orleans with Michael Thomas and Mark Ingram and Cam Jordan, and how much that locker room embraced him after just 2 days. The guy loves football, and I actually think a no-nonsense coach like Mike McCarthy is good for him. I mean, think what Mike Gundy did for Dez at Oklahoma State. So I've always argued that Dez was coddled a little bit through no fault of Jason's, really. Jerry had a sweet spot for him. And Dez, and I saw it, Dez would very easily go to the principal's office and go over the teacher's head when he didn't like something. Mike's doing things differently around this. Even today, there's a moment I kind of laughed. Jerry went to answer a question. Mike's like, I got that. And I was like, just like he's sort of forced me to get on my A game as a reporter, I think he's going to force his players to do the same. And I think that's a good thing for Dallas. So as for Dez, I have talked to at least 2 other teams that are intrigued. I think for other teams, this medical situation could hurt Dez. I think for the Cowboys, it could help Dez. So we'll see.
My last question before we let you out of here, because I know you got some hot pockets or something in the stove, because it's 10 o'clock
It's
out
actually
there.
Lean Cuisine. I have not had my meal today, but Lean Cuisine is sitting on my countertop.
My last question, like I have
so unhealthy.
I have a uncanny. My pastor always says whenever the Lord says something a bunch of times in the scripture, it means he's saying it for a reason. And the word that Jerry kept on saying in this interview more than anything was trade this, trade that, trade.
Come out his mouth.
So I wanted to know, Furio, I want to know, are you willing to put your stimulus check on the fact that we will stay at 17? I want to know.
That's a good question. I'm with you on that. I thought it was interesting that he even offered up that in his mock draft, they had a glitch during a trade. I'm like, Jerry, what are you doing here?
Giving it away, Jerry.
That's why we call it a GOAT.
Right. I have heard there is a very real scenario where Cesar Ruiz is a Michigan offensive lineman they like, and he would be a guy that would address their need at center. Now, they do have Joe Looney. I thought Joe Looney did a really nice job when Frederick was out with the autoimmune disease. I don't know if I buy Connor McGovern or Connor Williams filling in at center. So I think Cesar Ruiz is interesting. But I also know that they've been talking to a lot of corners. They've got to address the corner position, with Byron Jones gone. As I've been reporting this week, I've been told that CJ Henderson out of Florida is a guy to keep an eye on, and Clemson's AJ Terrell. Like I said, at linebacker, I think they really like Chason. I think if he's on the board at 17, he's going to be hard to pass. But if Chason's off the board, and then, I know another guy they've looked at, linebacker, Kenneth Murray. So it's kind of hard to say what they're going to do. I could see them possibly trading back and getting a pick, like I said, if they could get Cesar Ruiz, and that made sense for them. But yeah, I never know with Jerry sometimes. Sometimes I feel like he throws that stuff off to create some headlines. Tough to say.
Yeah, because a lot of teams, I have like 3 or 4 teams that I've written down that have had some type of rumor to them moving around. And I just feel like this is like, I don't know, maybe it's because of the pandemic or whatever it is, but for whatever reason, I feel like there's going to be a lot of movement in this draft, whether it be up or down or just, because you had the Miami talking about possibly, I'm like, Miami already got enough picks, what they want more picks for? And they have been rumored to. So it's like, if this is a draft, like my boy Boss Cowboy said, oddly enough, if this is a draft that if you see that somebody is worth going up, this would probably be one of the cheaper times to actually go up in the draft. And I know most of people are saying that trade back, but me and Boss, we were looking at the little spreadsheet that Jimmy Johnson created as far as like you can just
like the tackles a lot,
determine. And like one thing I see a lot is, for whatever reasons, is a lot of tackles. There's a lot of tackles going to come off this board.
Tackle grab.
Yeah.
I think what a lot of coaches are telling me too is there's a lot of depth. So like I kind of laughed at everyone that was mocking the Cowboys and even the Saints taking wide receivers in the first round with their first pick. I'm like, okay, let's talk about the Saints situation. The Saints found Michael Thomas in the second round, and they've just got Emmanuel Sanders. Why? And they've got Traquan Smith and Lil Jordan Humphrey. I would bet my stimulus check, if I was getting one, on 1,000% that the Saints are not taking a wide receiver at 24. Put money on that.
Okay.
As for the Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb is sure intriguing, but you don't like what you're getting from Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper, and then essentially you just need to go find a third guy. I don't know.
It's a lot of money for a third.
Right, and they're going to use Blake Jarwin more. So, I mean, you've got your tight end there. Yeah, I like I said, CeeDee Lamb is very intriguing, and if he's there, I think the Cowboys have a hard time not taking him. I don't expect CeeDee Lamb to be there at 17. I don't expect the Cowboys to pick a wide receiver because this is supposed to be such a deep draft. for wide receivers. So, I mean, look, as reporters, these mock drafts always crack me up because we're pretending that we know more than people who have literally been evaluating players, scouts for like multiple years, coaches and GMs who literally have interviewed these prospects, know exactly how it fits into the system and the plans. And you've got us like jackholes on the outside are like, here's what I'm going to tell you so-and-so is picking. It always feels like I always kind of laugh. It's like someone telling me like they know how to do my job, but I just base it on the conversations I've had with people. And then you have to literally also sort of juxtapose that against sometimes agents want the Cowboys name in the mix because it now all of a sudden makes their player look more intriguing. Like if Sean Payton's talking about a quarterback or a wide receiver, the way he was talking Lamar Jackson, everyone wanted Lamar Jackson as soon as Sean started talking Lamar. You know, if the Patriots are, God forbid, talking to a guy, everybody wants who the Patriots talking about. I feel sometimes there's a little bit of smoke out there by throwing the fact that the Cowboys are into a guy. And that's why I ran down that Cesar Ruiz rumor, because I was like, come on, I don't know about this. I've gotten some mixed messages. I got enough people telling me that there was a little momentum to that one.
Absolutely. Jane, the last thing I'm going to ask you before you get out of here, I absolutely promise, man, is there is this big optimism. Like there's this big cloud of optimism over the Dallas Cowboys. And for the first time, it's in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, I know they say this, Jane, but this year we really going to the Super Bowl. All them other years didn't count. This is like, I really feel it. You know what I'm saying? And I want to know just is there a different sense of optimism with Coach McCarthy in this building that you've seen versus other years? Just to kind of let us up out of here so we can go to bed and go to sleep.
And West Coast, you're not going to be able to sneak in like the last two quarters.
I think if there wasn't a pandemic, yes. And I say that because I think I don't think you can undervalue the importance of building team camaraderie. There's a lot of new faces, not only in the coaching staff, but on that roster. There's not as many veterans as you don't have the Jason Wittens this year. And we saw what that did when he wasn't here 2 years ago. You don't have Randall Cobb that I thought was undervalued for his leadership at the wide receiver position. It's going to be different, and they're going to be adapting to a new offense and defense and new leadership that they're not going to have much time to gel with face-to-face to start the season. So I think that's real. I actually think this pandemic is going to benefit teams like the Saints who, I'm talking about the NFC, who already have a system in place, a quarterback that is so based on routine, who Sean will often talk about the fact that they complete each other's sentences. You saw how close the Saints have gotten the last 2 years. You think Sean's going to let that happen a third year? And now, by the way, the news that Tom Brady, Gronk, Mike Evans are all assembling Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors in the NFC South. I think all of a sudden this thing got a little bit scary. Do I think that this team is capable of winning a Super Bowl in the next 3 years? Absolutely. I think Mike McCarthy is the sort of stabilizing force that they've needed. I think you've got a lot of the right talent on this roster, and they've locked up a lot of those guys in the long term. I think Dak Prescott's the guy that's going to win you a Super Bowl. I just don't know if, given the circumstances this year and some of the unique challenges that it presents, if this is necessarily Dallas's year.
Shoot, man, I appreciate that.
One thing, because West Coast gonna say another thing. It's like, I want more. No more. No, anyway, I read one of your tweets, and one of my favorite tweets is a memory tweet of yours, where you said, "I started off the decade just begging for a full-time job as a news reporter in Dallas. I was ecstatic to just fill in on CBS as a reporter and morning traffic reporter, anchor in a freelance role. Nobody, I want to say that again, nobody saw me doing sports early on, so I abandoned it at 24, only to come back. Now, we love to talk football. You know, that's what we do. We love the Cowboys. But what I want to hear is how in the world the person that we both admire, like we see you like I would believe you see Colin Cowherd, you know, like to see somebody that's reached the pinnacle and a voice for the America's team. I just want to kind of hear your personal story, if that's okay, because I might not ever meet you again. So I just want to hear your personal story of just the rise and almost seeing a dream deterred, but coming back around to it.
Marcus, you're so sweet to have that resonate with you because, I've been doing some of these Zoom classrooms with future journalists because I know that this economy is going to be rough. I think our business is going to look different on the other side, just because I've been through crappy economies as a journalist. But I've talked about the importance of knowing your why in the business. I think a lot of people look up and see the Stephen A's, the Colin Cowherds, the Erin Andrews, and their initial instinct is, I just want to be on TV. In other words, this is an entertainment business. And there's an aesthetic aspect to what we do, and there's an entertainment aspect of it as well. But my why is I love to tell stories. And when I went off to college, I wanted to be the next Lara Logan who, was covering the Taliban. And I just was like, wow, she's embedded with the Taliban. Like this beautiful blonde South African. How the hell did she do that? And Christiane Amanpour, who was, covering the Iraq War. So I went to college, I double majored in politics. And I thought that was where my career was going to take me. But I started, I was friends with a lot of the players at Texas. And there was a guy named Bill Little who used to write these amazing pieces that felt like he was taking you inside the ballpark when they were going to the College World Series. And I sort of loved covering the triumphs of players. But, when I got into this business back in 2003, there were a couple of women that were doing it. I mean, I looked at Melissa Stark, the Bonnie Bernsteins, Andrea Kramers, Alex Flanagan, but there certainly weren't any women that were NFL insiders. And so, we sort of talk about you kind of, when you're young, look to people who look like you as like, that's what I can do because a person that looks like me did it. I didn't see a lot of women that were insiders. And so my career path was like, well, maybe I want to be an Erin Andrews or a Melissa Stark. And then when I went off to my first TV markets, because I wasn't good when I started, they didn't think that a woman could carry a 50-pound camera and shoot sports and follow the ball, edit her own highlights, and do a Sunday sports show. And admittedly, I wasn't great at it back then. But I think going and being a news reporter for as long as I did, I learned how to really tell stories, cut through the crap, differentiate a headline, from a storyline. And I am so proud of that journey and where I went, because I covered news long enough that I didn't love reporting on people's worst moments. I really wanted to get back to sports and talk about people's best moments. Because even if a player loses a game, is with a team where people don't believe in him, there's a comeback story, and we celebrate those people, and the ones that don't succeed, they're a cautionary tale. And so there was just this aspect of sports that I really appreciated it. But I think it was because I didn't get the jobs early on. I have an empathy for the underdog. And I also feel like my job really taught me how to develop relationships. And I think that's why I've had some success in this business. And I'm really excited that even just as women, men are beginning to take us a little bit more seriously. And I'm talking about coaches, the fans, the players. We're doing an entire Twitch show tomorrow. Cynthia Freeland, who did analytics at ESPN, now with us. She's assembled 32 of the league's best reporters, and we're doing an all-female draft show. Wow. That was unheard of when I started in 2003. But I mean, we've got Alex Flanagan, we've got Hannah Storm, we've got Diana Rossini, myself, all these women that are, I consider, really smart in the business. Kim Jones, Aditi Kikwala, go down the list. We're all doing this shit. Kimberly Martin, like, keep going down. Pretty much any woman doing sports right now is going to be doing this Twitch show tomorrow. Just a full female. And it's so great right now because we're even finding, and I'm sure you guys are finding, we signed up to do one podcast a month in the off season. We've done 3 and had 250,000 downloads and listens on just the Cowboys. Wow. When you look at MJ's story on ESPN, 6.8 million viewers. People are so hungry for content. And so we may have not been interesting to the sports fan if we had traditional TV and sort of the influx of sports. Because there's none of that going on. Now more than ever, we have this real opportunity to not only show the male sports fan what women are capable in this business, but we might actually have a captive audience just because they're looking for content right now. So it's kind of, it's fortuitous.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and man, I seen your hustle and I seen your grind, man. Like at them training camps, there is a whole lot of standing around in that heat, waiting for people to come off the field. And Jane is always out there, man. And I just see, I mean, one of the things that I absolutely love about your story, man, is just, it's kind of, I mean, it just reminds me of, you know, the story of my mother and other ladies that have just persevered. And like the strongest person that I've ever come across is my mother, who brought us out here from the South, out here on her own to do her own thing. And it's like, you know, I remember my mom told me, like, you can be everywhere you want to be, but you're going to be a Cowboy fan. You know what I'm saying? Like she literally let me pick whatever NBA team. Like she wasn't tripping. Like she's a Spurs fan, I'm a Laker fan, but you're gonna be a Cowboy fan. And so it's like, I say this to say that it's like, you know, one of the biggest joys I think I have now is sitting down with my mom and her asking me about football. So it's like the circle around. So it's like there is something very, very powerful about a woman who knows her football. It is something powerful.
But I always keep it real. You know, I grew up in a house where CNN was on far more than football. In fact, we had a bird. We called him Scud because we watched so much of the Gulf War crisis that my bird made the Scud missile alarm sound. It's kind of ridiculous. Wow. And my brother didn't play football. He was into arts. And so when I had a radio show in Dallas, like probably the first time I ever got a job just strictly because I was female and I knew it, I'll never forget the biggest slip up. I probably couldn't have even told you who made up the secondary or what an edge rusher did or what a 4-3-3-4 defense was. And I looked down at the depth chart and I was like, and this offensive linebacker, oh my God, when I think back, and my co-host kind of caught me. Thank God, Mark Elfenbein. This is on my desk. It's called June 4th, A New Start to a Better Life. And that means a lot to me because back in 2012, I was so green at this thing. And here we are in 2020. And to your point, it feels really cool to not have people like myself as guests on the show. You know, I became a guest. And so,
yes.
And even just to you guys, that's why, you know, I really try to do as many of these shows as possible. I remember what it was like to get people to, you know, buy into you and establish credibility and book host. And so like, I respect the hustle. I love what you guys do. And I think, you know, there's, you know, even for you guys, there's such an opportunity for you guys, no matter where you are at in your life, professionally or personally, and what your life situation is. If you want this stuff, you know, hard enough, look at the Kurt Warners of the world. He was, you know, stocking shelves at a grocery store and then went on to win a Super Bowl. You know, you can sort of rewrite your story at any point. And at 32, I rewrote my story, which was a pivot to sports. So I certainly encourage you guys to do the same.
Shoot, I appreciate you.
I'm gonna tell you right now, we're gonna be Kurt Warner.
I love that.
Now listen, that is more. First, we know you like golf, so we go get you on the golf course. I'm not gonna take it easy on you at all. Okay.
One thing I will say about Jane is I'm a very, I love my wife and I'm very faithful. But I will tell you this, Jane, you've taught me don't use Fitbits. I heard this story. True. Like I'm gonna tell y'all right now. You know what I'm saying? Don't get a Fitbit. You know what I'm saying? Because at 4 a.m., if you're supposed to be at the house, you had better be at the house.
So funny story before I let you go. Michael Bennett, I loved him. He was such an enigmatic character in the locker room last year. You know, so many people were up in arms. He's not gonna, you know, toe the line. He's not gonna follow the rules. Well, he never did. In fact, if you go back and watch the Cowboys games that are playing. I don't know if they probably didn't show it. He would literally walk behind the bench, drink Gatorade, and just all of us reporters would sort of laugh, like, well, he's not toe the line. You're like, that's funny. But after the Fitbit thing happened, I kind of laughed at how many people reached out to me. I was like, did you make that up? And I'm like, come on. Like, my job as a journalist is to tell stories rooted in fact. Why would I make that up? Not only that, I would look like a chump saying like a guy cheated on me. And again, like the spirit of it was me responding to a Charlie Robinson and Albert Breer tweet about the Pelotons.
Right.
It 1000% happened. In fact, the woman he ended up marrying was pregnant here recently and reached out when all that happened and said that her husband was the subject of a gossip tweet. And I was like, well, first of all,
the power of Jane Slater.
First of all, how did you know he was the subject of said tweet? Because I never mentioned his name or the period. There was a reason he told you. It was to get out in front of it. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
But Michael Bennett, when I walked into the locker room, he hadn't said much to me. And he goes, yo, that really happened to you? I was like, bro, I'll tell you the story behind it if you can explain to me what's going on in defense this year. He's like, nah, but did that really happen to you?
Yeah.
Hey, because you gotta, because I mean, for us, that's nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a normal person. Like, normal person shouldn't be getting caught up like that. But I'm like, but when I see it, I'm like, that sounds like Jane Slater. That sounds like, if somebody's gonna catch you at 4:00 in the morning from your Fitbit, I think it's Jane Slater, because she be getting to the truth.
The funny part about this is, even though I'm a reporter, I do feel like I've been cheated on more than most, because I don't want to know. In other words, if you go looking, you're going to find.
Right.
And I'm never that girl that's wanted a guy's password. I've never wanted to, I just don't want to know. Maybe I'm exploring that in isolation right now, guys, just TMI here, but
for future dates, just let you know.
What was crazy about that was I never even thought that it was a tracking device. But an alert went off, kind of like, emotion, that there was activity. My partner that wanted to sync with me and got me this Christmas gift. And lo and behold, you can't really explain that away. I mean, he had told me that he was at a women's club late at night, was embarrassed to share that with me. And I was like, come on, man, I'm not weird about that stuff. Like, I'd rather you do that than go get bottle service, because we know that something can happen at the club with bottle service. Come on, it's just the story didn't add up.
And them Dallas clubs, they got strippers falling from the pole and everything. Who knows what happens in Dallas? Only in Dallas do strippers fall from poles. I don't know. It only happens in Dallas.
If his heart rate was spiking that much from just out walking and sitting down, then maybe I dodged a bullet. I would have been an early widow. But that's the backstory on that.
Once you start investigating, you can't turn it off.
And I'm sorry, West Coast. You was finna say.
I'm good, man. I'm just, the comment box is going crazy. I appreciate you, Jane, for stopping by. Man, I ain't gonna lie. After that interview that you had today with Jerry Jones, I literally told my producer G in it. I said, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. After that, I know she's gonna be late, because there is some drama from that interview, and I cut out those slips.
Honestly, there's not. I followed up with some folks. There's not any drama. Here's what I'll say. I like Mike McCarthy. I love that he's got me stepping my game up a little bit. I feel like I'm getting back to those journalism basics, the who, what, when, where, why, and how. I don't, when
you were super nice.
We're going to be super accurate now. Just know that, Mike.
And the thing that I like that you said, when you said, I can't see you, so I'm making sure I'm not being contentious.
Right.
Like when we watch you work and we see the fact that we call you the last of the Mohicans, to be honest. like because you don't see too many journalists. Most journalists today are trying to do clickbaits and journalism, right? Versus you seem to have an integrity where you want to stick with the truth. And like you said, encouragement that doesn't just tear players down, but that also brings them up. Yeah. So just watching you work, to me, in West Coast is a privilege, and so thankful that you remembered your path and then think about other people that's trying to be with you on the path. So
yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. But like I said, no drama in Dallas. I don't take this personal, but it's so funny. Some people, there was a situation a couple years ago, Des Bryant, I asked him about his wide receiver numbers, and he just lost his mind on me in the locker room. And this one reporter's like, well, what are we going to do about this? And I was like, nothing. I asked this man why he sucked. Of course I'm going to get that response.
Right.
I just think some people need to understand, put yourself in the person you're interviewing shoes. As I tell my journalism students that I've talked to recently, guys, I just met you, Marcus. Can I ask you how much money you're making a year? What your credit score is? And do you like your boss? I just met you. You're not going to tell me that stuff. Yeah, exactly. There is a finesse to what we do. And if I ask something that doesn't make sense or rubs somebody the wrong way, I've got to ask myself, did I ask that question the right way?
Right.
That's a good point, man. Before I
have
let
an
you cut
800
it,
credit
yeah.
score. I make 2
Better than mine.
Yeah. Hey, and that's a true point, man. My mom always tells me, like, you know, and I always say this too, like, especially when I meet people who are, you know, who are definitely at that pinnacle where I'm trying to get to, is like, she always told me, be mindful of people who are above you, who are able to do things for you, knowing that you're not able to necessarily return a favor to you in that same magnitude. Basically meaning, like, it says something special about people who are up here, who are able to still look down and still be able to assist, because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm hoping that this podcast, you know, bring you a couple more subscribers, but, you know, I think it says a lot about yourself, you know what I'm saying, that you're able to necessarily help two guys that necessarily, you know, at this point of our career can't really, you know, boost you
Kurt
up.
Warner.
But I promise you, you know, exactly, man. Kurt Warner, he had a beard, he had gray hair, but he still got the ring. That's the only thing that matters.
That's right.
Anytime
Nice.
you need me,
Right next to Jane working.
I love y'all's hustle. Anytime you guys need me, happy to help out. If work doesn't get in the way, and if we are in Oxnard, I'll see you guys out there again, huh?
Absolutely.
And
Hey,
I'm
we're
really
pray-
gonna
we're praying for
golf
that.
too. See, Jane, you can't show me that you play golf. That's going to be an excuse for us to play. I'm telling you, that's how we all relax. We're going to do it.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for having me on. And
Thank
like I
you.
said, let's do this again.
Absolutely. You have a blessed day.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jane.
So, man, that was absolutely an absolute. I'm about to go run in the street with my shirt off. I'll be back.
What's the
Nah,
GFI?
play, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to go run in the.
Nah, man,
I'm about to go run in the street with my shirt off.
It,
real
it
quick, you know what I'm
confirms
saying?
everything that we've always said about Jane.
She's a scout, bro. Let's just be real, bro.
Yeah,
She's one of
a
us.
serious
She's one of
Cowboy
us.
fan
Just say
out
it,
there
bruh.
Uncover truth.
Just say
But
it,
she
bro. She's
also-
one of us, bro.
She's one of us. And
She's one of
she-
us, bro.
I would say better. You
I
know,
mean, of
just-
course she's better because she's educated, but I'm saying her
Yeah, I'm just-
mindset,
I'm-
her,
you know,
her thought,
I-
she's one of
but
us,
we
bro.
both
She's in the
look up
Rebel
to her
Nation,
so
bro.
much, and you know, she's somebody that when
She's
we
Rebel Nation.
reference her because she's the person that's gonna be, to me, the most honest. Like, one of the things that I love, and like me and you've been following her strongly since, was when everybody was basically calling Dez the cancer, and she talked about it again today. She was one of the only few reporters that said, just like she said today, there was zero infighting in that locker room.
Zero.
So
Something else she
because
said that
we
was
are,
dope
like
too.
you said,
Hey,
scouts.
even bigger. I don't care about that. You know what she said that was even bigger? She said Dez fell in love with Dak at OTAs.
Yes,
So all that, Dez and Dak. No, I don't want to hear it.
right.
Like, there's a reason why Dez said, this is the thing. This is one thing I love about Dez. Dez is not afraid to tell the truth. If Dez said everybody else's breath stank, why wouldn't he say that guy's breath stank too? There's a reason why Dez never said anything publicly against Dak Prescott, is because he had nothing to say against. He had no problem with him. He had no problem with him. He had no problem with Zeke. He had no problem with him. You know what I'm saying? I absolutely love this show, man.
Hey,
I'm about to
and
break this
before we
thing
go,
down.
I'ma
Before we
just-
get up out of here,
you-
man.
You've been preaching at me to take off my shade. So since you know the interview is over, I'm for my boy Jalen. We rocking the clear our views on the way out the door. I have nothing else to say unless my boy West Coast does.
Nah, I'm good, man. I know.
Man, but we can
I would say
recap.
this
We
though.
gotta
I would say
recap
this
that
though.
bro. Like, we have to recap what
Oh
we
yeah,
are.
we gonna recap this. I'm gonna break this whole thing. I'm gonna break this thing whole down, man.
And I'm talking about even do a show with it. I know you.
Oh
gonna
yeah,
cut it
tomorrow.
out, you know, I'm
Tomorrow.
just
we got
saying,
it. But hey,
it
man,
was
but
just so meaty, bro. Like, it was so much quality info that she unleashed.
Yeah.
I really just hope that, you know, we all appreciate that, because if you're a serious Cowboy fan out to uncover truth, you got it today. You know there's no drama with Dez. You know now that they talk to Dez.
Yep.
Okay, you know that now.
Yep.
So, you know, it's things that came out that she privileged. She kicked her feet up and she talked like she was just relaxed and told us a lot of good quality info on just love. You know,
Yeah.
it was just love. And the main thing I respect about Jane is like, and
Us
that
Cowboy
tweet-
think he got a shot too. Let's just all be real. I'm reading the comments. I know he do. He think he got a shot. Yeah. Look at
What?
that's Boss Cowboy. But yeah, man. You know me and I was smooth.
I can't hear you, man. You sound like
Boss
you talking
Cowboy.
crazy.
Hey, Boss Cowboy was smooth. Either, you know, I had to, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
No.
saying? There we go.
But like, it's the is you got so much like truth today, and
Yeah, he
it's
did.
one of those things that make it rewarding, and that I feel so privileged to do this, man. To where we get a chance to enlighten people about the team we all love, man. And then, to just have people like Jane and obviously Jalen supporting us now, and Chris Harris came on the show, and Kyle Duggard, and obviously
Hey, and
we
you know
had a
something,
guy fall out,
and you know something, boss, too.
but he's gonna come back. We possibly have a ex-quarterback
Chris
tomorrow.
Carter. Well, yeah,
Chris, Quincy Carter tomorrow, and we not bragging, but it's just a privilege. It's a real privilege to really be able to do what we do, and so that when we all win this Super Bowl, and I'm with you, West Coast, like now, all of us are gonna have that much more excitement because we're all invested. And I'm talking about all of us. People that
and also,
listen,
before we get up out of here,
the super chats, the people that just give good comments, the people that debate, the people that hate on us, the people that hate on the Cowboys, the people that love the Cowboys.
we love all y'all. We need all y'all too. And the last thing I'm gonna say too, man, is also, man, there's about 100, there's still about 140 people on here, man. I need you guys to go look at yourselves in the mirror real quick and really tell yourself that these random Cowboy fans on the internet talking that Cowboy talk are pretty damn close to the people. I mean, the information. I don't care about. I mean, the people is love. I love the people. But what I'm saying is, a lot of what Jane was talking about was reaffirmation of what we've already been telling you guys, and that's why I think it was just so beautiful. Like a lot of this conversation was literally just her reaffirming stuff that we've already told you guys, but she made it sound so much better. Hey, man, y'all already know what it is, man. G, hit the lights. We up out of here. Never look down because the door is open. Wait, time out. Never look down because the star is open.
Hey.
Hold up. Never look down because the star is up.